Chapter 826. Swoosh. 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 With the appearance of Hu Yongming, the human king, there were many grandmasters behind him. One by one, they walked out of the hills as if they had been hiding nearby for a long time. They probably wanted to ambush him. Moreover, Xia Ping was very familiar with these human grandmasters. Hua Gang, Chao Zhengbin, and other core students who had been sent to the sinful army were also here. What's going on? Why are there so many human grandmasters nearby? The group of monsters was shocked. This flaming mountain was the territory of their sea monsters. How could these human gurus silently invade it without them knowing? After all, the dragon trapping stance covered an area of dozens of miles. People from the outside could not enter at all. Therefore, this group of people must have been hiding in a hidden hill in advance and only jumped out now. But thinking about it carefully, with the help of human kings, it was probably very easy to hide from their senses. But thinking about it, they felt a chill rising from the bottom of their hearts. If these human grandmasters wanted to ambush them, wouldn't it be easy? Moreover, these human grandmasters and kings had hidden until now and had not acted up. They must be planning something big. Hu Yongming. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and looked at this group of people. They had jumped out when he was about to kill the remaining 3 demon kings. It was obvious that they were up to no good. Hua Gang jumped out and shouted, staring at Xia Ping with hatred, "Xia Ping, how dare you call my patriarch by his name? Do you know what manners are?" Hua Gang jumped out and shouted, staring at Xia Ping with hatred. It was because of this bitch that they were forced to join the sinful army. Every day, they had to go through dangerous missions. They were in danger and never had a day of peace. One could imagine how much they hated Xia Ping and wanted him to die. "It's none of your business." Xia Ping sneered. "You didn't jump out when I was in trouble. But now that the situation is settled, you trash jump out. Are you trying to steal the credit or what?" He looked at this group of people. "Xia Ping, what do you mean by this? You really don't know what's good for you. Previously, we laid an ambush here to save you. We wanted to deal a fatal blow to those demon kings when they let their guard down." That's right, that's right. It's just that I didn't expect those Yao kings to be so weak. They couldn't even withstand a few of your attacks before dying or becoming crippled. We just didn't have the time to take action." "That's right. If we stop you from killing the remaining 3 demon kings, we'll be saving your life, understand? It's fine if you're not grateful, but you're still slandering me and speaking ill of me. Don't you have any gratitude?" A group of core students shouted, saying that they had been lying in ambush here, planning to make a move at the crucial moment. However, no matter how hard they tried, they could not wait for the crucial moment, so they did not make a move. Scram! Xia Ping couldn't be bothered to look at the hypocritical faces of this group of people. He sneered, "Still saving my life? You guys want to save the Demon King's life, right? Could it be that you guys joined the 1,000 Demon Mountain and became traitors? If that's the case, then today, I'm going to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens and get rid of evil for the people." The expressions of many core students changed. This brat was extremely vicious. He wanted to frame them. He probably wanted to find an excuse to teach them a lesson. His heart was truly vicious. Moreover, they also had to admit that Xia Ping had this kind of strength. With this battleship in his hand, he was practically invincible. Unless it was an invincible king, they would not be able to do anything to him. Thinking about this, they were so jealous that their intestines turned green. Thinking about how they were also people from king-level clans and had a noble status, they did not know how many times better they were compared to this country bumpkin. However, this kind of super battleship was something they didn't even dare to dream about. Now, it was actually obtained by this bastard, and he even went on a killing spree. The heavens were really too unfair. Xia Ping. The king level Hui Yongming said, I spoke out to stop you from killing these 3 demon kings. This is saving your life. This is not a joke. Do you know how big of a commotion it will cause by killing 5 demon kings today? The entire 1,000 demon mountain will be shaken. Most probably, even the invincible demon kings will personally come to kill you. They might not care about the death of Grandmaster Demon Kings, but if the Demon Kings are dead, they will definitely not be indifferent. At that time, it will cause a war between the human race and the demon race. Can you bear the consequences? He believed that the death of 5 Demon Kings was very serious. That's right. It's fine if you want to die, but don't drag us down. Hua Gang looked down at Xia Ping. Once the war starts, there will be countless casualties. Who knows how many orphans and widows will be born? At that time, you will be the main culprit of the war. You will be a sinner. Even if you go to the military court and die dozens of times, it will not be a pity. Do you understand? He stood on the moral high ground and criticized Xia Ping. This kind of reckless action would cause countless people to die, and these people were killed by Xia Ping. He was the main culprit and should be killed. Hearing these humans speak for them, the Cat Demon King, the Black Scorpion King, and the Snake Demon King were all overjoyed. If they could persuade this brat, they would be able to live. Although they could only live with the help of humans, this little bit of humiliation was nothing. As long as there was life, there was hope. It would not be too late to take revenge in the future. To be able to become Demon Kings, they already knew what it meant to be flexible. Cat Demon King, Black Scorpion King, and Snake Demon King. Hui Yongming looked at the 3 Demon Kings with a kind expression. I hope you won't be angry. All of this was done by this young man. It actually has nothing to do with us humans. I hope that when you return, you can put in a good word for us to the Myriad Demon Mountain. Don't easily start a war and cause suffering. This is not a good thing for either race. Hearing these words of submission, the Cat Demon King, the Black Scorpion King, and the Snake Demon King felt extremely comfortable. Finally, a reasonable human came out to uphold justice. Were Demon Kings that easy to kill? Pull one hair and it will affect the whole body. This hothead did not understand this principle. He did not know how terrifying the death of 5 Demon Kings was. The Demon Kings of the Myriad Demon Mountain would probably go crazy. Now, this human Demon King was reasonable. He knew what politics was and what compromise was. Don't worry. The Cat Demon King said, of course, this matter has nothing to do with you humans. This is a personal grudge. We all understand this principle. When we return, we will not say much. Naturally, we will focus on the peace between the human race and the demon race. These words, however, were all false. When they returned, they would immediately gather a large number of demon kings to surround and kill Xia Ping. Even if they had to shed all pretense of cordiality, they would not hesitate. 2 demon kings had already died. If the Myriad Demon Mountain did not do anything, which race in the world would still look up to them? Chapter 827. Upon hearing this, Hui Yongming immediately smiled. As expected of the Demon Kings. You are indeed sensible people. You know what it means to look at the big picture. I feel very happy communicating with you. He looked like a spring breeze, completely in control of the situation. You're too kind. Mr. Hua is also a good human. He is a bridge between us demons and humans. Perhaps we can become friends in the future and work together. Cat Demon Monarch said humbly with a humble look on his face. Snake Demon Monarch and Black Scorpion King felt that it was embarrassing to interact with humans, but in order to survive, they had to smile and build a good relationship with Hui Yongming. You're too kind. Upon hearing this, Hui Yongming's eyes lit up. Wasn't this the reason why he had jumped out and saved the 3 Demon Kings? Once he could befriend these demon kings, he could conduct a large number of transactions with the demon race and obtain countless treasures that humans could not find. With such a life-saving grace, no matter how ungrateful these demon kings were, they would not refuse to trade with Hu Yongming. When the time came, the Hu family would obtain endless benefits, enough to make up for the losses caused by Xia Ping. Of course, more importantly, it was to discuss Xia Ping. After all, the three demon kings had already formed a death feud with Xia Ping. Once he left alive, it was obvious that he would attract earth-shattering revenge. When that happened, faced with the demon king's assassination, the kid would probably not be able to withstand it. Sooner or later, he would die at the hands of these demon kings. Therefore, with so many benefits, how could he not jump out to stop Xia Ping from killing the demon kings? After all, the death of these demon kings would not benefit him at all. Living would bring him the greatest benefits. As for Xia Ping's feelings, it was none of Hu Yongming's business. He was a human monarch. His status was unattainable. How dare a grandmaster make such a fuss? Mr. Hu, may we leave? Cat Demon Monarch looked at Hu Yongming eagerly. Hu Yongming said heartily, of course. Leave now. I guarantee that no one will stop you. He waved his hand as if he had become the owner of this place and would not go back on his word. That's great. We still have something to do, so we'll leave first. Let's meet again in the future. Cat Demon Monarch, Snake Demon Monarch, and Black Scorpion King said immediately. They could not wait to leave this dangerous place. After saying that, they turned around and wanted to slip away. Wait, who told you to leave? Did you ask for my opinion? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes, revealing a dangerous glint. This Hu Yongming had acted like a master the moment he appeared, giving out orders here and treating him like a little brother, ordering him around as he pleased. Even the demon king that he wanted to kill wanted to let go just like that. He was simply looking down on him. If the three great Yao kings were to leave, even an idiot would know what would happen. Of course, Hu Yongming would be fine. After all, he wasn't the one who offended the three great Yao kings. Xia Ping, on the other hand, would be in trouble. He would definitely be ruthlessly retaliated against, and his family would suffer. With such a serious consequence, how could he let the three demon kings escape so easily? Your opinion? What do you think? Hu Gang jumped out and hooted, my family's old ancestor has already arranged it like this, what are you still talking about? Don't tell me you want to start a war between the human race and the demon race? Do you know what it means to look at the big picture? If people die in the war, will you pay? He was very arrogant, pointing at Xia Ping's nose and scolding. Bang! Before he finished speaking, Xia Ping slapped him. Like a sudden thunder, it instantly hit Hu Gang's face and sent him flying. Ah! Hu Gang couldn't help but let out a shrill scream. He flipped more than a dozen times in the air, and his face was red and swollen. Just like that, he fell to the ground, creating a deep pit. What? Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect that Xia Ping would actually make a move. Hu Gang was even more furious. He was slapped in the face in public. Such humiliation even made him want to kill. Originally, as an expert at the peak of the Supreme Master realm, he should not have been so unbearable. How could a mere third heaven of Supreme Master do anything to him? But just when he wanted to make a move, the muzzle of the super battleship next to him was aimed at him, rumbling and rotating. There was no doubt that this was a threat at all. If he dared to fight back, he would be killed by the cannon and die without a whole body. That was a laser cannon that could even kill a king. As a little Supreme Master, how dare he be arrogant? He stood obediently and did not dare to move, taking the slap head-on. Scream, continue to scream. Xia Ping looked down at Hu Gang condescendingly. When is it your turn to represent all human beings? You say you want to start a war. Do you think you are the federal president? Even if there is a war, so what? Haven't we fought a war before? How many people have died in the previous wars between the human clan and the demon clan? I'm afraid we can't even count them. Were we afraid at that time? You killed a few demon kings, and you're talking here. Many demon kings have died in history. So what if you've seen them? Don't think too highly of yourself. You still want to lecture me here? You're using a chicken feather as a token of authority. If I don't lose my temper, you won't take it seriously, right? He clenched his fists and cracked them. You! Hua Gang was going crazy, and his face turned red. It was a great shame to be reprimanded by a junior in public like this. But after being slapped like this, several of his teeth fell out. Now he was in so much pain that he could not speak at all. The other core students also gritted their teeth. This guy was simply too arrogant. Was there no one who could punish this bastard? God must be blind to allow such a bastard to get away scot-free. Xia Ping, you've gone too far. Hua Yongming's face was very gloomy because Hua Gang was a descendant of the Hua clan. Slapping him in the face was equivalent to slapping the Hua clan in the face, and it was equivalent to slapping Hua Yongming in the face. In this situation, how could he take it lying down? You've killed 2 demon kings. Isn't that enough? This is enough for you to make a name for yourself. Do you want to continue killing and exterminate all of them? Hua Yongming stared at Xia Ping. Can't you give me face and let these demon kings go? This way, the Hua clan will owe you a favor. His face was extremely gloomy, and his body was filled with anger. As a king, he had never seen such an arrogant grandmaster who actually dared to talk to him like this. Enough? You dare to attack me? How can 2 demon kings be enough? I won't stop until blood flows like a river. Xia Ping sneered. Give you face? Who do you think you are? Do you have that much face? Today, you're still here making excuses and helping the evildoer to stop me from killing demon kings. It seems that you also want to die. Chapter 828. What? When Hua Gang and the others heard these words, they were all shocked. Did this lawless madman even want to kill Hua Yongming, the human king? He was too audacious. You even want to kill me? Hua Yongming was so angry that he laughed. He had completely underestimated this guy. He didn't expect this guy to want to kill him. It was too exaggerated. It seems that you have really been possessed. You have been blinded. If you go on like this, it will be difficult for you to reach the peak of Grand Master, let alone become a king. Hua Yongming shook his head and said, maybe this is also the shortcoming of cultivating too fast. Your foundation is not solid, and it is easy for you to be possessed. Your future in martial arts will be like this. He looked at Xia Ping with pity. It is not up to you to say whether I am possessed or not. Who do you think you are? You are just an ordinary king, not even in the invincible king realm. How dare you preach to me? Do you think you are qualified? Xia Ping sneered and said, but maybe this is the reason why you can't step into the invincible king realm. You are overcautious and overcautious. You have lost the way of bravery and have begun to learn to do some unscrupulous things. You don't know that the most important thing in martial arts is to have a clear mind. I am invincible. You don't even dare to say that you are invincible. If you are fearless, how can you defeat the enemy? Hua Yongming, you are just as so. He looked at Hua Yongming indifferently. You. Hua Yongming's complexion was extremely ugly, it was as black as charcoal. Xia Ping had indeed hit the nail on the head. Now that he was old, he had long since lost the fearless spirit of his youth, and had many scruples. But it was these concerns that caused him to no longer have the courage he had in the past. He was trapped in a bottleneck for many years and could not break through. He had no hope of reaching a higher realm in this life. But even though he said that, being exposed by Xia Ping was like exposing his scars and slapping him in the face in front of everyone. This made him burn with rage. How dare you? A core student shouted angrily, "Mr. Hua is a king. How can you criticize him? How dare a little master question a king? What a joke. That's right. How can a junior like you understand the invincible king realm? Just because you've studied for a few years and have a bit of knowledge in your stomach, you think you can graduate from your teacher's tutelage and start to guide the world? It wouldn't be too late to say that after you advance into the king realm. You aren't even a king realm king, yet you have the nerve to speak such words." Many core students sneered. "Xia Ping." Hu Yongming snorted coldly, "I'm not going to waste my breath on you. I'm going to save these 3 demon kings. No matter what you do, you won't be able to stop me." He had made it clear that he wanted to save the 3 demon kings. Even if Xia Ping wanted to stop him, there was nothing he could do. "Ancestor, don't be afraid of this kid, he's just bluffing. I'm trying to scare you. Am I not familiar with him? If he sticks out his butt, I'll know if he's shitting or peeing." Hua Gang looked at Xia Ping disdainfully, as if he had seen through Xia Ping's intentions. "You want to kill a king? What a joke. That's not some livestock that you can kill whenever you want. It's fine if you kill a demon king. After all, it's the myriad demon mountain, an enemy. No matter how many of them die, they'll be rewarded instead. But if you kill a human king, that's a crime of rebellion. You're a traitor, and everyone has the right to kill you. No matter how great your contributions are, you'll still be arrested or even executed. So what if you have the protection of the giant corporation? Could it be that you're above the federal government? You still want to kill a human king? Come on, kill me if you have the guts. If you don't kill me, you're my son." He sneered, certain that Xia Ping wouldn't dare to be arrogant. The eyes of the Cat King, Snake King, and Black Scorpion King flashed, but they didn't say anything. They were happy to see these humans fighting each other, and they even secretly removed the barrier of the dragon-trapping pillar. Once this barrier was removed, they would be able to soar freely in the sky and swim freely in the ocean. Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, 2 to 3 terrifying blue energy pillars shot over with lightning speed. They almost scorched the air and instantly struck Hu Yongming. "No!" Hu Yongming let out a mournful scream. The laser energy was simply too fast. It was so fast that even a king wouldn't be able to react in time. By the time he realized it, it was already too late. Bang, bang, bang. Instantly, Hu Yongming's body was pierced through by several energy beams. His heart, forehead, abdomen, and other parts of his body instantly had a huge bloody hole. Blood spurted out like it was free. With a paw, his body fell to the ground just like that. His eyes were wide open, and fear, shock, and disbelief could be seen in the depths of his pupils. He didn't expect that he would die just like that. Even when he died, he didn't even let out a scream. He didn't even feel any pain. Old ancestor. Hua Gang was going crazy. He couldn't help but scream. His eyes were wide open. This was the old ancestor of the Hua clan, the true pillar of support. Without the Hua clan's old ancestor, the Hua clan would no longer be a king clan. From then on, the Hua clan would plummet and would no longer have the glory of the past. It could be said that anyone in the Hua clan could die except for the old ancestor. His status was just that important. But now, Hu Yongming had actually been killed on the spot. He was killed by this damned beast, Xia Ping. He couldn't even imagine what the Hua clan would be like if they found out about this. It was likely that the sky would fall and the earth would split. No way, he really killed him. Many core students swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Their eyes were filled with fear. That was a human king, not some random thing. How could this brat kill him? This brat was simply unrestrained. He could do anything. Was he not afraid that this matter would be exposed and he would no longer have a place in the entire Federation? How audacious! He was really too audacious. Endless fear rose in their hearts. What kind of person had they offended this time? He was so unbridled and ruthless. He was not someone they could afford to offend. At this moment, these course students were a little regretful that they had come. Xia Ping. Hua Gang stared at Xia Ping with a murderous gaze. He roared, "How dare you kill the Hua clan's old ancestor? Don't you know that this is a serious crime? You will be beheaded." He wanted nothing more than to eat this beast alive. Beheaded? Xia Ping sneered. You dared to stop me from killing the Monster King. That was already an irreconcilable enmity with me. If I don't kill him, should I wait for his revenge? You said that I don't dare to kill him because I have some misgivings. Then I'll kill him for you to see. I, Xia Ping, kill without restraint. So what if he's a king? He's just a pile of bones after he dies. His murderous aura filled the entire space. It made everyone's hair stand on end as if they had fallen into an ice cave. Chapter 829. Is that so? In that case, don't leave. All of you stay and accompany Hu Yongming on his way. Hearing these words, Xia Ping looked at the course students present. Oh no! Many course students were horrified. This kid not only wants to kill Hu Yongming, but also wants to kill them all. He intends to completely silence them. If they all die here, there will be no evidence. Who can accuse this Xia Ping? The people outside probably don't even know what happened here. At that time, no matter what this kid says, they can't do anything to him. After all, the dead can't come out and say that they are innocent. But this is also a matter of course. For Xia Ping, this group of course students has long been his mortal enemy. They even dared to collude with the Wanya Mountain, leak his information, and let the Monster King kill him. Today, they dare to leak his information. Tomorrow, they dare to go back to Yanhuang's star to deal with his parents. This group of course students has long been his mortal enemy, and the contradiction is simply irreconcilable. Who knows what they will do in the future? If he waited for them to do something to hurt his family, it would be too late. Therefore, he had to nip these dangerous sprouts in the bud before they could happen. In any case, even if he let this group of people leave alive, they would think of ways to deal with him. He might as well bury them completely and end all troubles once and for all, eliminating all future troubles. Not good, this kid has completely fallen into the devil's path. Deranged. This bastard has already lost his mind. Hurry up and run. If we don't run, we will die. The faces of a group of course students changed drastically. They simply wished their parents could give them a few more legs. They galloped, trying to escape the attack range of the super battleship. Such a laser cannon can even kill the Monster King, not to mention small characters like them. It is estimated that they will be smashed to pieces with just a horizontal brush. They no longer dare to doubt Xia Ping's determination to kill them. He even dared to kill the Monster King on the spot. Is there anything he doesn't dare to do? He is simply lawless to the extreme, there is no law. Kill! Xia Ping ordered. Bang bang bang. From the super battleship, amazing laser light immediately burst out, like raindrops, pouring down and bombarding the group of course students. Not good. The first to bear the brunt of the attack was Hua Gang. He stood at the very front, and was also a person who had a deep grudge against Xia Ping. The attack from the battleship was also focused on him. His pupils shrunk as he felt death looming over him. It was as if the god of death had appeared in front of him and was trying to take his soul away into the 6 paths of reincarnation. It was as if at this moment, all the memories of his life flashed before his eyes. In just an instant, his body was like a beehive. In an instant, an energy beam shot over. It was like an arrow shot by an ancient god's descendant. It tore through space and instantly reached Cat Demon Monarch's body. With a smack, Cat Demon Monarch was caught off guard. His heart was immediately penetrated by the energy beam. It was like a god-slaying spear had pierced through his body. Cat Demon Monarch was dead. So, another energy beam shot out, aimed at Snake Demon Monarch. Bastard! Snake Demon Monarch fled desperately as he swayed his snake tail. He was extremely agile as he constantly swam in midair. His body flickered as he left overlapping afterimages. Ordinary people couldn't even catch a trace of him. However, it was useless. This was because there were simply too many laser beams. There were hundreds of them, and they seemed to form a huge net of death that enveloped its body in an instant. With a whoosh, his body was sliced into countless pieces on the spot. He was dismembered like a butcher dismembering a cow. His tough snake scales were as fragile as tofu. Snake Demon Monarch was dead. The remaining Black Scorpion King's eyes popped out in fright when it saw its two companions die tragically. It didn't dare seek revenge. It circulated its demonic powers and rode a cloud as it fled into the distance. It was practically risking its life. It was afraid that it would follow in the footsteps of Snake Demon Monarch and Cat Demon Monarch if it was one step behind. Chapter 830. Whoosh! The Black Scorpion King rode on the clouds. Its body emitted a large amount of black mist as it fled into the distance. At this moment, it was extremely regretful. It did not expect that in such a short time, this human brat could actually threaten the Demon King. He had become a big scourge, and even several of its companions had been killed by him. If it had known that this human was so abnormal, it would have risked everything to kill this bastard. But now, it was too late for regrets. The other party had already grown, and it would be very difficult to kill him. Just you wait, don't let me escape. Otherwise, I will definitely kill his entire clan. His relatives, friends, and parents will not be spared. The Black Scorpion King roared in its heart. Being chased by a mere human grandmaster and forced to flee like a stray dog was a great humiliation to a demon king. It was a humiliation that could never be erased. It swore that after this was over, even if it had to risk its life, it would sneak into the human world and kill his entire family to avenge the death of the Demon King. Want to run? You're dreaming. Seeing that his archenemy, the Black Scorpion King, was fleeing, how could Xia Ping let this Demon King leave? It could be said that this Demon King hated him to the bone and would not rest until he was dead. Once the other party escaped, it would probably be revenge. If the Demon King put down his pride and did something sneaky, the consequences would be very serious. Even if he had the protection of the warship, he could only be a thief for 1,000 days, not a thief for 1,000 days. Today, he definitely could not let this scourge leave. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the laser cannon of the super warship immediately turned and shot toward the Black Scorpion King. An azure energy column exploded, tearing the air apart. Ah! Suddenly, the Black Scorpion King was caught off guard and was hit by the energy column. Its entire body was pierced, and even the air seemed to be scorched. With a pop, a large amount of blood flowed out of its body, sprinkling on the ground. Intense pain spread throughout its body. However, as a Demon King, its vitality was too tenacious. Even if its body was pierced through, it could not be killed immediately. It could only be seriously injured. Damn it! The Black Scorpion King was simply risking its life. Not only did it not have the slightest intention of stopping, it did not even leave behind harsh words. It was afraid that if it had the slightest hesitation, it would slow down its speed and be hit by the warship's cannonball, dying without a whole corpse. King-level footwork, wind-chasing moon. It ignited its own blood chi and used its king-level footwork. Its entire body was surrounded by a black fog, and its speed actually increased by several times. A large amount of black gas immediately sprayed out from its body. Shio! Immediately, the Black Scorpion King's body was like a jet plane, quickly escaping into the distance. However, its escape route was not in a straight line. Instead, it was like a giant bird soaring in midair, its trajectory meandering. Even the warship system was having a hard time locking onto the Black Scorpion King's figure. If this continued, the Black Scorpion King would escape the warship's attack range in just a few seconds. At that time, it would be very difficult to find the Black Scorpion King, and it would escape. Hell Spear. A booming sound rang out as Xia Ping immediately took out the Hell Spear. Against such profound footwork, even a battleship would not be able to track it. However, they did not need the help of the super battleship now. The Black Scorpion King was heavily injured and had lost 99% of its strength. It was no longer comparable to an ordinary Grandmaster. Facing such a Black Scorpion King, he was completely fearless. Xiao. In an instant, the Hell Spear was thrown out. Xia Ping's psychic energy covered a radius of 20 miles, locking onto the Black Scorpion King's figure in an instant. No matter how the Black Scorpion King dodged, it could not escape the tracking of his psychic energy. Immediately, the Hell Spear was like a precise homing missile. Its trajectory meandered as it followed the Black Scorpion King's aura. In the blink of an eye, it had reached the Black Scorpion King's side. What? The Black Scorpion King was horrified. It could feel a terrifying hell's aura from the spear. It seemed to have the aura of destruction, reincarnation, and so on circulating. This was a terrifying killing weapon. If it was hit, even if it was a demon king, it would die on the spot. However, even if it wanted to escape now, it could not. Its aura had been completely locked onto, and its speed was also extremely fast. Like an aurora, it arrived in the blink of an eye. Dong! The Black Scorpion King's head was immediately pierced through by the spear. Its entire body, with a strong inertia, flew out just like that. In the end, it was nailed into the mountain wall. A large amount of blood flowed out of the Black Scorpion King's body, dyeing the mountain wall red. Its eyes were wide open, revealing incomparable unwillingness, regret, and fear. It seemed to be unable to believe that it, a dignified demon king, would die in the hands of a human grandmaster. However, no matter how unwilling it was, it could not be resurrected. The moment the Hell Spear pierced through its head, its soul was completely obliterated. Even struggling was impossible. They're all dead. Xia Ping used his psychic energy to sense the surroundings. There were no signs of life within a radius of 20 miles. The 5 great demon kings and many other monsters had been killed. Their corpses were all left on the ground. Rumble subconsciously, he operated his qigong, instantly producing a terrifying devouring power. The soul-devouring beast's instinct was activated. With his body as the center, a terrifying black vortex appeared. In the void, the soul energy that was drifting around, including the Demon King's soul energy, was quickly devoured by this black vortex and integrated into Xia Ping's body. Although the Demon Kings and many Grandmaster monsters had lost more than half of their soul energy when they died, the portion of soul energy left behind was still very shocking. Devour. Xia Ping felt that his brain was immediately flooded with majestic soul energy, but this kind of soul energy was too huge. If he absorbed it all, his whole head would probably explode. System, there's too much soul energy. Is there any way to deal with it? Xia Ping immediately asked the system. If this continued, his life would be in danger. He killed the 5 great demon kings, but he self-destructed because he absorbed too much soul energy. This joke was too big. The system said, it is recommended that the host purify and compress this soul energy and make it into a soul crystal, so that he can slowly absorb it in the future, step by step. Soul crystal. Xia Ping's heart moved. How to make this soul crystal? The production method requires 200 million hate points. It is a secret technique called the soul crystallization method. The system said. What? The corner of Xia Ping's mouth twitched. You need 200 million hate points. Why don't you rob someone? Just a method was worth 200 million hate points, which was simply an astronomical price. Xia Ping also found the dragon-trapping pillars left behind by the 5 demon kings. There were a total of 5 pillars. After refining them, they could actually shrink or enlarge according to their master's will. Moreover, there was a mysterious connection between them. Once they were set up, they would immediately form a unique spatial domain. Even a Yao king would find it extremely difficult to break through. At certain times, the dragon-trapping pillar was definitely a great killing weapon. Host, there is still a layer of seal on this treasure that has not been lifted. Do you want to spend 10 million hatred points to unseal it? Suddenly, the system's voice sounded again. There's another seal. Hearing this, Xia Ping's heart moved. The system's words could not be wrong. If it said there was a seal, then there must be a seal. This dragon-trapping pillar was probably more powerful than he had imagined. He didn't know if the demon kings had discovered the seal on the dragon-trapping pillar. Maybe they had discovered it, but there was no way to unseal it, or maybe they didn't even know that there was such a thing. In any case, he was probably going to make a lot of money this time. Unseal it immediately, Xia Ping said in a deep voice. Anyway, he still had 15 million hatred points, which was more than enough. Yes, host, the system said. Immediately, a golden light entered the 5 dragon-trapping pillars. Boom! Golden chains immediately appeared on the dragon-trapping pillar. They were like chains of rules, sealing mysterious runes and exuding a mysterious and profound aura. However, when the golden light entered the dragon-trapping pillar, a powerful force erupted. Immediately, the golden chains immediately collapsed like glass shattering, making a crackling sound. The next second, the dragon-trapping pillar burst into a huge light, and a void formation appeared. At the same time, a mysterious warm current poured into the deepest part of Xia Ping's mind, which was the internal information about the dragon-trapping pillar. No way, the dragon-trapping pillar has such a function. It's really amazing. Xia Ping was very shocked. After unsealing, the dragon-trapping pillar not only had the power to form its own space, but more importantly, after forming an independent space, it could also form an equal field and carry out rule suppression. Any powerful enemy who entered this independent space would be reduced to the same martial arts realm as the owner of the dragon-trapping pillar as long as their strength did not exceed the bearing range of the dragon-trapping pillar. This was simply a supreme weapon to deal with strong enemies. Even if the enemy was an expert at the peak of the supreme power realm, after entering the dragon-trapping pillar, they would be reduced to the same realm as Xia Ping and would not be able to get rid of the constraints of this space. Of course, how powerful the dragon-trapping pillar was closely related to the martial arts level of the master. If the master was weak, the power of the dragon-trapping pillar would also be weak. If Xia Ping wanted to use the dragon-trapping pillar to trap a king, it would be impossible. After all, he was only a supreme power master and could not exert the true power of the dragon-trapping pillar. Only by advancing to the king realm could he exert the power of the dragon-trapping pillar to the fullest. It could be said that this was the real power of the dragon-trapping pillar. If the Wanya mountain had discovered the mystery of the dragon-trapping pillar earlier, it was estimated that many human kings would have been killed. Obtaining this great weapon immediately made Xia Ping very excited. Unfortunately, except for this treasure, the 5 monster kings had no other treasures. Hui Yongming, the human king, was even stingy and poor. But even so, he found a lot of elixirs, and some weapons on the bodies of many supreme power monsters, core students, and these kings. All the things added up were worth at least more than 100 billion federal coins. This time, in order to kill the 5 monster kings and Hui Yongming, the moon god also consumed a lot of energy. The originally stored energy of 2 trillion was almost exhausted. If it was not quickly replenished, it would be a piece of scrap iron, and it could not even fly normally. Chapter 832. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Just as Xia Ping put the moon god back into his spatial ring, as well as the demon nuclei and treasures, many human grandmasters immediately flew over from the mountains in the distance. These human grandmasters had already discovered the changes in the flaming mountain. The geocentric Ganoderma was about to mature, and they were all frantically approaching. They hoped to be the first. But before they could get close, an energy shield immediately enveloped them. It was extremely tough. No matter how they attacked, they could not damage the energy shield at all, nor could they enter it. This made them feel extremely aggrieved. But at the same time, they also knew that something big must have happened. Otherwise, how could such a treasure appear? After all, a treasure that could activate an energy shield was not something simple. Therefore, when these human grandmasters discovered that the energy shield had disappeared, they were all extremely curious. They rushed over, wanting to know what had happened to the flaming mountain. Oh my God, so many sea demons died. What happened? A human grandmaster approached and immediately found many sea demons lying on the ground. These sea demons were the jellyfish, crab demon, and shark demon that had just sealed the flaming mountain. Before, they were all very arrogant and insufferably arrogant, but now they were all dead. At this time, their bodies had been burnt to ashes by Xia Ping's flames. Human grandmasters, there are also human grandmasters dead here. Some people also found many humans lying on the ground, all of them powerhouses at the grandmaster level. They seem to have also suffered a blow and died very miserably. Their faces were beyond recognition, and their bodies were charred black. Basically, no one knew how they died. Could it be that a human grandmaster fought with these sea demons here, and both sides perished? Some people guessed that there might have been a tragic battle here, resulting in both sides dying. Impossible. You didn't see how terrifying those sea demons were. There were thousands of them. How could these human grandmasters be a match for them? Someone refuted. There were too few human grandmasters here, and they could not be a match for these sea demons. Oh my God. A sharp-eyed person discovered the bodies of 4 or 5 demon kings lying on the ground. He immediately jumped up. Isn't this the demon king? The black scorpion king, the bear king, the snake demon king, the cat demon king, and the ox demon king. All of them were famous figures in the myriad demon mountain. Why would they appear here, and why are they all dead? He was scared out of his wits. This was a fiend king, a great figure that was comparable to human king-level figures. Normally, the appearance of a single one of them was already quite terrifying. A rain of blood would be raised, and it was unknown just how many people would die. But now, these insufferably arrogant demon kings had actually died. Moreover, 5 of them had died at once. This was simply earth-shattering. It was too shocking. The other human evolved Jing masters were also aghast. Although some of them had never seen the 5 great demon kings before, the corpses of the 5 great demon kings lying on the ground were emitting a boundless murderous aura. It was a terrifying sight. As the saying goes, even if a tiger dies, it will not fall down. Even if a demon king was killed, its corpse would still give people a great sense of oppression. Demon Qi soared into the sky, and ordinary people would not be able to approach it. Human King Hui Yongming. Isn't that Hui Yongming, the ancestor of the King clan's Hui clan? Why would he appear here? And why is he dead? Someone recognized Hui Yongming. At this moment, Hui Yongming was hit by the laser cannon. His entire body was burnt to ashes, leaving only his head. No one knew how he died. They only knew that his death was very tragic. Hui Yongming. King Hui family. I once saw this king on television from afar. Back then, I felt that he was high and mighty, unreachable. Who would have thought that he would be dead now, and only his head is left? 5 great demon kings and a human king. This lineup is simply terrifying. Could it be that a battle between king-level figures happened just now? That must be it. I reckon that these sea demons and human evolved Jing masters were caught in the battle between king-level figures, and were all killed by the shockwaves. What an unjust death. No wonder a spatial dimension suddenly appeared. No matter how hard we hit it, it couldn't be broken. So, it was released by a king-level figure. Damn it. Luckily, it didn't break. If it really did, we would have died if we had gone in recklessly. Many people guessed the truth of the matter. Everyone felt pity for these human-evolved Jing masters and sea demons. They reckoned that this group of people had accidentally gotten involved in the battle between king-level figures, and it had nothing to do with them. As a result, the sea demons died tragically one after another. They couldn't even escape. Although there were many sea demons, in front of a king-level figure, numbers were just numbers. 10,000 zeros added together was just a zero. The difference was huge. Everyone sighed. Compared to a king-level figure, a evolved Jing master was too far away. They were like ants. Wait, there's still someone here who's not dead. Someone immediately noticed Xia Ping, who was still alive. It could be said that Xia Ping was like a crane in a flock of chickens among a group of dead people. I've seen this kid before. Isn't he the champion of this year's genius contest, Xia Ping? Immediately, a human-evolved Jing master saw Xia Ping and exclaimed. After all, Xia Ping was quite famous now. Anyone who had watched the genius contest would basically know him. Although it couldn't be said that everyone knew who he was, with so many people, there were bound to be a few who could recognize him. Hello, everyone. Xia Ping greeted these human-evolved Jing masters. Brother Xia, what's going on here? Why are so many evolved Jing masters and king-level figures dead? A human-evolved Jing master asked impatiently. He asked several questions in a row. Actually, what he wanted to ask was why Xia Ping wasn't dead. So many evolved Jing masters had died, even king-level figures had fallen, but this famous scourge was still alive and well. This was too strange. To tell you the truth, these 5 kings are here to kill me. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back. What? Many human-evolved Jing masters were shocked. King-level figures were here to kill a young evolved Jing master. This was too exaggerated. It was like the head of a country personally coming to kill a commoner. This was making a mountain out of a molehill. It was unbelievable. Some people didn't believe it because they didn't know Xia Ping and didn't know what Xia Ping had done. However, someone who knew the inside story immediately told them what Xia Ping had done. For example, recently, he had captured a few Heaven's favorites and auctioned them in public, extorting a large amount of money from the Myriad Monster Mountain. Because of this, Xia Ping was on the must-kill list of the Myriad Monster Mountain. The king-level figures hated him so much that they wanted to kill him. Many people speechlessly looked at Xia Ping. No wonder the king-level figures were here to kill him. He had done such a stupid thing and completely offended the Myriad Monster Mountain. A descendant of a king-level figure dared to auction off the Myriad Monster Mountain. This was too exaggerated. They didn't even dare to think about it. Even if there was such an opportunity, they wouldn't dare to do it. Chapter 833. Brother Xia, since the 5 demon kings came to kill you and set up a death trap, why is Brother Xia still alive? Someone asked boldly. Many people were extremely curious about this point. Even the demon king had died, and a large number of grandmasters had fallen like ants. Their bodies had been burnt to a crisp, but this kid's life was as tough as a rock. It was simply unimaginable. Previously, they felt that this question was very rude and did not have the nerve to ask it. But now that someone had asked, they were happy to see it happen. Well, the reason why I am still alive is because Mr. Hu risked his life to save me. Xia Ping cupped his hands and said. What? Many people were shocked and asked, what is going on? Although they had guessed that Hu Yongming, the king-level demon king, was here, the matter was not that simple. But after hearing Xia Ping's words, they all pricked up their ears. It seemed that the matter was very complicated. It's like this. Xia Ping said slowly, at that time, I was sneaking into the flaming mountain to pick the geocentric Ganoderma. Everything seemed to be going smoothly. Those sea demons did not discover my whereabouts. But I did not expect that in the blink of an eye, the 5 demon kings would come to kill me. They already knew my whereabouts and set up a fatal trap in the flaming mountain. They planned to wait for me to come and catch me like a turtle in a jar. At that time, I was in despair. I felt that my life was frozen and I would not be able to see the sun tomorrow. The things that happened in my life flashed before my eyes like a horse lantern. Many of the human evolved masters also felt the same way. Their hearts tightened. They couldn't imagine how dangerous the situation was at that time. They tried to imagine that they were planning to pluck the geocentric Ganoderma, but suddenly, 5 burly men jumped out from the bushes and planned to ambush them. Moreover, they were 5 king-level experts. They had laid down a heaven-shaking trap to take their lives. Damn, they were king-level demon kings. They shamelessly laid an ambush and hid for many days just to kill you. Any evolved Jing master would feel despair in such a situation. There was no way they could survive. One by one, the human grandmasters looked at Xia Ping with pity. Being hunted down by a demon king was an experience that no one could experience, and no one wanted to experience. You can probably imagine how desperate I was at that time. I had already thought of my last words and didn't plan to run away. Facing a king, any action of running away would be a joke. I planned to close my eyes and wait for death, but I didn't expect Mr. Hua to jump out at that moment. He was alone, with a group of grandmasters, blocking in front of me. Xia Ping changed the topic and said, at that time, he stood in front of me and shouted that whoever dared to touch Xia Ping would have to step over my corpse first. His voice was like thunder, and his aura was like a tiger, shaking the heavens and the earth. He displayed the unrivaled demeanor of a human king. To be honest, I thought he was an idiot at the time. You have to know that those were 5 great demon kings, not 5 grandmasters. No matter how powerful Mr. Hui is, he is only one person. How could he be a match for 5 great demon kings? If he comes out, he's going to die. Everyone nodded. They understood that all of them were at the king realm. No matter how powerful Hui Yongming was, he would probably die when facing 5 great demon kings. There was absolutely no reason for him to survive being ganged up on by 5 great demon kings. Moreover, the other party was prepared and had set up a trap. It was absolutely foolproof, so if he came out to face 5 great demon kings, he would definitely die. If he hid at that time and was afraid of death, then no one would blame him. After all, this is human nature. Who would give up their life for a stranger? At the very least, I can't do it, and there are probably not many people in this world who can do it. Xia Ping looked up at the sky and let out a long sigh. But Mr. Hu did it. Looking at his stalwart figure and fearless courage, I deeply feel how insignificant I am. I feel ashamed of my cowardice from the bottom of my heart. I feel ashamed of my inferiority. When they heard these words, many human grandmasters seemed to see the noble sentiments and stalwart soul of a human king. For the sake of protecting the younger generation of the human race, even when facing 5 great demon kings and facing a situation of certain death, he still chose to stand out and fight against the demon kings. If such a person was not a hero, then who could be called a hero? As expected of Mr. Hua, as expected of a human king, a role model for our generation. He's too noble. If I put myself in his shoes, even if I was at the king realm, I probably wouldn't dare to go out. 5 great demon kings, not 5 cabbages. Going out would be suicide. That's why he's a king. He has a big heart, a great spirit, and can do what others can't. Perhaps this is the reason why we're stuck at the Grandmaster realm. We don't have Mr. Hua's heart, such awareness, and such fearless spirit. It's precisely because humans have such a king that we humans can live and work in peace and contentment. That's why we're able to expand our territory. Compared to a noble king like Mr. Hua, we're simply too ashamed to show our faces. Some people seem to be alive, but they're actually dead. Some people seem to be dead, but they're still alive. This is a person like Mr. Hua. Many human grandmasters sighed with emotion, and their eyes were a little moist. It seemed that they saw the image of a human hero slowly rising. Although he was dead, his spirit was still alive, and it would last forever. However, there were also some grandmasters who couldn't believe it because they had heard some rumors about Hu Yongming. It was said that this guy was a black-hearted businessman who often did things that couldn't be seen in the light, and it was unknown how many families he had caused. Although Hu Yongming might not be that kind of evil person, they always felt that it was too ridiculous to say that he was willing to sacrifice himself for others, and that he was willing to go through fire and water for a human junior. They had never seen a wolf become a vegetarian and stop eating sheep. Even among human kings, there were some sinister, cunning, and evil people among them. In fact, the martial arts realm had nothing to do with a human's character. It was only related to opportunities, comprehension, and aptitude. Are you serious? You're not lying, are you? Someone opened his mouth to question, and he looked at Xia Ping suspiciously. What do you mean? Hearing this, Xia Ping shouted, from your words, it seems that you're questioning Mr. Hua's character. Are you doubting his noble character, and his selfless spirit? Indeed, his previous actions were more or less stained, and he was slandered by others, and there were some bad rumors about him. However, a person's character can only be seen at the most critical moment. Who knows how many hypocrites have exposed their evil side at the critical moment of life and death? They were greedy for life and afraid of death, and they became the demon race's spies, bringing disaster to the world. However, there are also people who are usually full of evil deeds who are full of courage at critical moments, and they fight to the death with their enemies, never surrendering. This is courage, and this is the backbone of the human race. You can doubt me, but I won't allow you to doubt Mr. Hua's character. If you don't give me an explanation today, I'll definitely make you bleed. Chapter 834. I. That person was frightened by Xia Ping's murderous aura. For a moment, he was dumbfounded and speechless. This is too much. A human grandmaster also glared at that person angrily. At this time, there are still people who dare to doubt Mr. Hua. I don't even know if you are human or not. This is too much. Even if Mr. Hua has some bad rumors, so what? Can it cover up his great personality? He is already dead. Is there any better evidence than this? He clenched his fists. That's right. It's unbelievable that there are still people who doubt Mr. Hua's character. In order to save the younger generation of the human race, he died in the hands of the demon kings. What better evidence than this? Some people say that this is an act. I'm acting your sister. If dying for others is an act, why don't you just die? If this is an act and has been acting for a lifetime, then it is real. So what if there are some bad rumors about Mr. Hua? A real man who stands up at the critical moment is a real king. Mr. Hua is many times better than those who pretend to be a good person but reveal their evil side at the critical moment. If it were you, would you die for others? Would you sacrifice yourself for others? There are always people who like to play to the gallery. It seems that if they don't offer some different opinions, they can't prove that they are special. In fact, such opinions are disgusting. If you don't give us an explanation today, we will treat you as a demon clan spy and execute you on the spot. Many human grandmasters glared at that person. They felt that this guy was too much. Xia Ping was already dead, but he still doubted the character of others. It was unimaginable. Even if he was bragging for protection, it was too much. All of them were filled with murderous intent. Those who dared to insult the human race's heroes, even if they were not traitors now, they would be in the future. It was better to eliminate the root of the problem now to eliminate future trouble. No. Immediately, that person was so scared that he peed his pants. His face was pale as he shouted, I. I didn't mean that. I was just wondering how Mr. Hua was able to resist the attacks of the 5 demon kings and save Xiaoping. He immediately made it clear that he had no intention of suspecting Hu Yongming. He was afraid that if he said it too late, he would become the public enemy and be beaten to death by this group of grandmasters. This was the so-called disaster comes from the mouth. He regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. Why did he have such a cheap mouth and suddenly say such words? Wasn't it obvious that he was looking for trouble? Hearing these words, many people looked at Xiaoping. They were also very curious about this point. Speaking of which, I have to mention Mr. Hua's greatness. Xiaoping looked up to the sky and let out a long sigh. After he stood out, he naturally knew that it would be very difficult to resist the 5 demon kings with his own strength. He would probably be killed by the demon kings in a few moves. However, Mr. Hua lives up to his name as a human king. He actually hit a trump card. He has a secret treasure on him. If he were to detonate it, even a Yao king would be killed instantly. The only problem is that if I detonate this artifact, I will die with it. Everyone held their breath. They felt that the so-called secret treasure was probably the cause of the 5 demon kings' deaths. As for the secret treasure, not many people would doubt it. After all, they were human kings. No one would believe that these big shots didn't have a few trump cards on them. It was not surprising at all that they had some strange treasures. Did Mr. Hua directly detonate this secret treasure? Someone couldn't help but ask. Xiaoping nodded and said, "That's right. Mr. Hua sent me a secret message. He said that he planned to die together with these demon kings to fight for a chance of survival and create an opportunity for me to escape. But how could I let Mr. Hua do such a thing? If Mr. Hua died just like that, would I still be human? I refused on the spot and wanted to live and die together with him. But Mr. Hua didn't agree. He said that the future belonged to young people like us. He was already old and there was no point in continuing to live. It was better to let outstanding young people continue to live. Only then would they be able to create greater miracles. In the end, he instantly knocked me out with a punch and threw me to a place who knows how far away. When I woke up, I found that the Grandmaster monsters, the 5 demon kings, and even the human Grandmaster were all dead. I guess they also died in that earth-shattering explosion and perished together. He peeled off the details of this matter and spoke tirelessly. The cadence of his voice was extremely infectious. There was a kind of solemnity, passion, and uncontrollable grief in the dark. It's so touching. This is the inheritance of our human race. Mr. Hua was right. Instead of everyone dying together, it's better to let a promising young man continue to live. This is the spark, this is the hope of the future of the human race. Even so, Mr. Hua, who can make such a decision, is worthy of being a hero of the human race. He sacrificed himself for others. In this selfish world, how many people like him are there? Good people don't live long, but scourges live for thousands of years. Why did a person like Mr. Hua die? King, that's a king, a high and mighty figure. In ancient times, he would be a big shot like a king or a general. Now, he actually sacrificed himself for a small soldier. It's unbelievable. If it weren't for his noble sentiments and the spirit of a saint, how could he have done such a thing? I guess that Mr. Hua might be Brother Xia's protector. He was always protecting Brother Xia's safety, protecting the proud sons of heaven of the human race from being killed by the demon race. Brother Xia, I hope that you don't let Mr. Hua's sacrifice down and continue to work for the future of the human race. Everyone was so moved that they couldn't control themselves. It was rare to see a hero of the human race like Hu Yongming. Normally, they would only hear that for a treasure, friends would turn against each other, relatives would fight, and they would never see each other again. They had never heard of such a selfless story. It was simply a warm feeling. Of course, of course. Xia Ping's face was solemn. My life was saved by Mr. Hua. It can be said that I've walked the path of reincarnation once. If I don't inherit Mr. Hua's will and pass on the torch, I'm not human. He was impassioned. In the distance, Jiang Yaru also appeared in the crowd. She knew that the danger had been resolved, so she walked out from her hiding place. She was speechless when she saw Xia Ping's impassioned expression, as well as the other human grandmasters' touched expressions. Xia Ping's skin was thicker than a chopping board. He was so shameless that he didn't even need to prepare a draft when he lied, and he wouldn't pay for it even if he deceived people to death. Of everyone present, she was the only one who knew the truth of the matter. That Hu Yongming had a grudge against this bad guy, the kind that wouldn't rest until he was dead. How could he be willing to sacrifice himself just to save this bad guy's life? Unless there was something wrong with Hu Yongming's head, such a thing would never happen. She guessed that Xia Ping must have killed the 5 demon kings and Hu Yongming together. In order to cover up this matter, he pushed Hu Yongming's death onto the demon kings. Chapter 835. Okay, I won't say much. Xia Ping changed the topic. I won't feel at ease if we continue to let these human heroes lie on the ground. Why don't we clean up the corpses and bring them back to the human cities? But the journey from Myriad Treasures Island to the human territory is too long. I'm a little worried that the corpses will rot and cause diseases like plague. Many people nodded. They could not leave the corpses of the human heroes who fought against the demon race here. This was simply disrespectful. That's true. Why don't we just burn these corpses and turn them into ashes? That's right. Although this is a little disrespectful to the heroes of the human race, this is an urgent matter. There's nothing we can do about it. We can't just leave their corpses in the wilderness. Moreover, if they cause diseases like plague, it will harm others and ourselves. It's already good enough to bring their ashes back. When we go back, we will immediately set up a longevity monument for them. They will be revered and worshipped by the people. Not bad, that's a good idea. The group of human grandmasters immediately decided to cremate these human heroes into ashes and bring them back to the human world. This was the best choice. Speaking of this, some people hesitated. Perhaps they could tell how these human heroes died from the wounds on their bodies, but out of respect for these human heroes, they didn't say anything. Instead, they decided to burn these corpses into ashes. In any case, they had sacrificed themselves for the human race and fought against the demon race. There should not be anything fishy about it. It didn't take long before the corpses were burned to ashes and stored in jars that were made at the last minute. Okay. There's no time to lose. I will immediately bring these ashes back to the human cities and tell the other humans about the deeds of these human heroes. I will let them set up longevity monuments for them. After doing this, Xia Ping wanted to leave Myriad Treasures Island. There was nothing to see on this island anyway. The greatest treasure here, the geocentric Ganoderma, had fallen into his hands. There were no other treasures left. Most importantly, his moon god ship's energy reserves were almost depleted. If another demon king came, it would be like catching a turtle in a jar. He would be dead for sure. Therefore, in order not to take risks, he planned to immediately return to the human cities and replenish the moon god's energy. In this way, it would be foolproof. No matter how those monster kings stomped their feet, they wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Then I'll have to trouble Brother Xia. We still have some matters to attend to. We need to search for treasures on Myriad Treasures Island, so we won't be going with Brother Xia. Yeah, we went through so much trouble to come to Myriad Treasures Island, yet we're going to return empty-handed. What a pity. Many human grandmasters said. They had paid a huge price to come to Myriad Treasures Island, and many of them had died. Of course, they didn't want to leave just like that. If they didn't get enough treasures, they would have suffered heavy losses this time. They wouldn't even be able to get back what they had lost. Of course, they didn't know that Xia Ping had obtained the geocentric Ganoderma. Otherwise, they would even have the heart to rob Xia Ping. Fortunately, Xia Ping looked so poor that his pants were falling off, so these people did not have any greed in their hearts. If it weren't for Mr. Hua's kindness, I wouldn't have left Myriad Treasures Island so early. No matter what, I have to let their families know about this as soon as possible. This is also the only contribution I can make for Mr. Hua and the others. I'm truly regretful. Xia Ping sighed repeatedly, feeling ashamed. Hearing these words, everyone was even more moved. Not only was Hu Yongming a good person, this Xia Ping was also a person who knew how to repay kindness. Hu Yongming's sacrifice to save them was not in vain. The corner of Jiang Yaru's mouth twitched. He was obviously worried that more monster kings might come and kill him, so he wanted to quickly escape. But he had to put on an appearance of being considerate of others. His skin was simply too thick. She had finally seen the shameless side of this scoundrel. When a man was shameless, there really wasn't anything a woman could do. After exchanging a few more words, Xia Ping parted ways with this group of people. Yaru, after returning to Giant Island, where do you plan to go? Xia Ping asked. Jiang Yaru thought for a moment, then said, I'll continue to train in the Endless Sea and complete the missions Master gave me. I'll sharpen my martial cultivation and ascend to the Grandmaster realm as soon as possible. She clenched her fists in anger. Although she didn't obtain the geocentric Ganoderma during this trip to Myriad Treasures Island, and Xia Ping obtained it instead, in order to thank Jiang Yaru for her assistance, Xia Ping still gave her a large amount of spirit liquid as compensation. This amount of spirit liquid was enough for her to safely cultivate to the peak of the Martial Master realm. Originally, Jiang Yaru refused, feeling that this kind of compensation was too much. But to Xia Ping, this amount of spirit liquid was simply too much. Giving some to Jiang Yaru wasn't a big deal, it was just a drop in the ocean. So, she agreed. Right now, she really did need the help of this spirit liquid. What missions? How about I take care of you? Xia Ping said carelessly. It's not that I'm boasting, but right now, I'm rich enough to rival a country. I can also be considered to have a flying ship. Whatever cultivation resources you want is a simple matter. In the future, you can just stay at home and rest in peace. Give birth to 8 or 10 big fat boys. My mom also told me before that I'm not young anymore. It's time for me to settle down and find a wife. He looked at Jiang Yaru. Idiot, you, what are you saying? Shameless. With a swish, Jiang Yaru's fair and tender face instantly turned red like a ripe tomato. Her beautiful eyes were watery, and she was at a loss of what to do. It was as if her brain had crashed, and wisps of smoke were rising from her head. It was as if she was overthinking things. Even if you beat her to death, she would never have imagined that Xia Ping would suddenly say something like this. Could this be the legendary marriage proposal? What was going on? Just what was going on? She wasn't mentally prepared at all. She never thought that something like this would happen. Moreover, this was the wilderness. It was a very romantic place. This scoundrel didn't seem to have prepared a romantic proposal environment. He didn't even have a wedding ring. More importantly, she and this scoundrel weren't even in a relationship, and he was already getting straight to the point and getting married? Wasn't this too rushed and too fast? Even if he forced himself on her, it wouldn't be like this. At the very least, they had to be in a relationship for 2 or 3 years, get familiar with each other, hold hands, kiss, date, live together, and go through a series of activities. That was how it was usually done in dramas. How about it? Are you interested in going to the Civil Affairs Bureau with me to register? Xia Ping suddenly approached Jiang Yaru. His large eyes stared at Jiang Yaru innocently. His face was practically touching hers, and his breath was steaming. He was about to kiss her. Ah! Don't come near me. In that instant, Jiang Yaru was like a kitten whose tail had been stepped on. Her face was completely red. With a bang, she subconsciously threw a punch at him. Chapter 836. A few days later, Xia Ping and Jiang Yaru left Myriad Treasures Island and boarded the Moon God to return to Giant Island. Because the ship didn't have enough energy, it couldn't activate the space jump. Thus, he could only choose to fly slowly. Nothing happened along the way, and he safely returned to the human-ruled sea. However, as soon as he landed at the airport of Giant Island and parked the ship, a group of people immediately surrounded him. Xia Ping looked over and saw 4 or 5 kings of the giant corporation, a large number of grandmasters, and even people from the Hua clan. They all came to him one by one. After a few days, the news of the 5 kings and the human king Hua Yongming dying together on Myriad Treasures Island had spread throughout the world. Countless people knew about it, and it shocked the upper echelons of the human race. They immediately wanted to know the truth of the matter. After all, the death of the kings, and at the hands of a human at that, was an earth-shattering event for the Cloud World. For the Hua clan, it was a bolt from the blue. Their ancestor was dead, and their pillar of support had collapsed. This was something they couldn't accept, and they all came to ask for an explanation. Xia Ping. An elder of the Hua clan immediately shouted at Xia Ping, "What the hell is going on? Why did our ancestor die on Myriad Treasures Island? Why did he die together with the 5 kings? Did you do something to it? Confess immediately." He asked loudly. He wouldn't believe the rumor even if he was beaten to death. How could he not know what kind of person his ancestor was? He was definitely not someone who would sacrifice himself for others. If he could survive, the ancestor wouldn't mind sacrificing anyone, including his family. But now, the ancestor Hua Yongming was willing to sacrifice his own life to protect a human junior, not to mention that Xia Ping was the Hua clan's enemy. Which idiot would sacrifice their own life for their enemy? He had never heard of such a thing. Thus, when he received this shocking news, he thought it was a joke. After confirming it, he went crazy. He felt that there was something fishy about this matter, and there was definitely something shady going on. Otherwise, how could the ancestor of the Hua clan die on Myriad Treasures Island for no reason? Of course, the most important thing was that Hua Yongming personally went to Myriad Treasures Island to kill that junior, Xia Ping, and eliminate this scourge. But who would have thought that the lad would be so lucky that nothing happened to him? Instead, it was the old ancestor of his family who died. However, this was a top secret of the Hua clan. Only the higher-ups had the right to know about it, and it could not be leaked. Otherwise, the Hua clan would have no place in the human race. "I'm sorry. I did kill Mr. Hua this time." Xia Ping stood with his hands clasped behind his back. He looked up at the sky and sighed. "If it weren't for me, who provoked the 5 demon kings and allowed them to set up a trap, leading to a fatal attack, Mr. Hua probably wouldn't have died at the hands of these demon kings. This is all my fault. I'm very useless. At that time, I also wanted to save Mr. Hua. Unfortunately, I was only a grandmaster. How could I overturn the heavens in front of the demon king? As for what you said I did, I can only say that you think too highly of me. Playing tricks in front of a king, aren't you tired of living? Who dares to be presumptuous?" Everyone nodded. Even though Xia Ping was a human master, compared to a king, he was still too far away. No tricks could be used in front of a king. Trying to use some tricks to plot against a king was simply a joke. Impossible. "Xia Ping, don't play dumb." The Hua clan elder was furious. He knew the inside story and naturally knew that this bastard was lying through his teeth. He didn't do anything, but the Hua clan elder was willing to sacrifice his life and die with the 5 demon kings. This was impossible. Don't we know what the Hua clan elder is capable of? If you wanted to escape, even if the 5 great demon kings wanted to stop you, they wouldn't be able to. It's impossible for you to die. Furthermore, my Hua family once had a conflict with you. How could my patriarch help you? You must have done something. He was like a mad dog. He wanted to bite this bastard to death immediately. Hearing this, Xia Ping scolded, "What do you know? How can selfish people like you imagine the greatness of Mr. Hua's character? You don't know what you're talking about. You can insult me, but you can't slander Mr. Hua's character. It's true that I had some misunderstandings with the Hua clan before. Some small conflicts are known to all. But what kind of person is Mr. Hua? He's a king of the human race. He's a magnanimous person. How could he hate a junior because of such a small thing? Moreover, in the face of the human race and the demon race, any prejudices can be put aside to fight the enemy together. You narrow-minded people who don't know right from wrong and are afraid of death won't understand this kind of feeling. Do you think that you're a coward who forgets morality at the sight of profit and thinks that everyone in the world is the same? Don't lower Mr. Hua's moral level to the same level as you shameless people. You don't deserve it at all." His spittle flew everywhere. Many disciples of the Hua clan were speechless. They didn't know what to say. Refute Xia Ping. But wouldn't that mean that their elder was a shameless coward who was afraid of death? How could a junior slander their elder like that? Anyone who heard this would probably be unable to stand it. They couldn't say such things either. But they couldn't accept admitting this bastard's words. It was clearly this shameless bastard who secretly played tricks and caused the death of the Hua clan's elder. Chapter 837. Inherit the Hua family's inheritance? No matter how imaginative the Hua family's children were, they had never thought of such a thing. This shameless Xia Ping wasn't satisfied with killing his own family's ancestor, and he even wanted to extend his hand into the Hua family's property. He was clearly not a member of the Hua family. He was someone who couldn't be touched in 8 lifetimes, yet he still wanted to take a share of the Hua family's huge property. His skin was so thick. Suddenly, their lungs were about to explode. They had greatly underestimated Xia Ping's skin. Inherit your sister. One of the Hua family's children cursed, "Your mouth is on your body. You can say whatever you want." Who knows what happened at that time? Anyway, there's no proof. And you're not a member of the Hua family. You're not related. No matter how muddle-headed the ancestor is, it's impossible for him to hand over the Hua family's property to an outsider like you. Xia Ping, don't get too fucking carried away. He wanted to bite Xia Ping to death. Hua Yongming was a king. The value of the property he left behind was absolutely astonishing. It was equivalent to the heritage of a family. Originally, this was the Hua family's exclusive property. No one could touch it, but this shameless kid actually wanted to reach out and take a share. They had never seen such a hateful person. Xia Ping, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. If you talk nonsense like this, my Hua family can sue you. Don't think that you won't pay the price for talking nonsense. You still want to inherit my Hua family's property? That's ridiculous. Even if you're greedy, you have to have a limit. Where's the evidence? What can prove that my Hua family's ancestor let you inherit the inheritance? The group of Hua family elders' faces were gloomy. They stared at Xia Ping with murderous intent. Of course there is evidence. Xia Ping said calmly, "I happen to have a will of Mr. Hua with his autograph on it." He said that he had already placed all his treasures in the Hua family. If you want them, you can go and get them. With a snap, he took out a will from his body. Of course, this will was fake, but it was also real. He had spent 10,000 hate points to create it through the system. The signature on it was indeed Hua Yongming's handwriting. Even the most brilliant detective couldn't see any traces of forgery. What? There really was evidence? They looked over and immediately saw the words on the will. It said that Hua Yongming left all of his family's property to Xia Ping alone, and no one else could touch it. There was also Hua Yongming's personal signature at the bottom. The evidence was conclusive. Their faces turned green with fright. If the Hua family's assets fell into the hands of this shameless person, then what would they, the Hua family's descendants, have to eat the northwest wind? Fake, it must be fake. I've investigated everything about this kid. He's famous for his tendency to resort to trickery. One of the Hua family elders screamed, "Don't think that you can get a share of the Hua family's inheritance just by forging a will here. You must be dreaming. One should know when to stop. You can't take something that doesn't belong to you." They didn't believe Xia Ping's words at all. Try to think about it, under the siege of the 5 great demon kings, at the critical moment of life and death, his own ancestors still had the fucking mood to write a will? How was that possible? Even if they thought about it with their knees, it was ridiculous. With this little time and free time, why didn't he run away? Run away quickly. If he used the time to write the will to escape, there might be a chance of survival, and he wouldn't need to die with the 5 great demon kings. Whether it's fake or not, can't we find someone to verify it later? Whether it's real or fake, we will naturally know when the time comes. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back, his face full of righteousness. Of course, I'm not a greedy person who forgets righteousness, but since this is Mr. Hua's good intentions, as a junior, it would be too rude to refuse. Although this is not my original intention, since Mr. Hua has said so, I will inherit his huge inheritance, so of course I will not refuse. Quit, why don't you quit? Many of the Hua family elders were so angry that their noses were crooked. They had never seen such a despicable person. He clearly used sinister and cunning means to obtain the Hua family's property. He was extremely greedy. Now, he was pretending to be pretentious here, and he even said that it wasn't his original intention. He was forced by Hua Yongming repeatedly. If he really wanted to refuse, he should have refused now. What was the point of pretending here? A trace of fear rose in their hearts. Since this kid was so confident that he wasn't afraid even if he found someone to verify it, then this will was probably real. But if this happened, would the Hua family's huge inheritance fall into the hands of this outsider? No, absolutely not. They definitely couldn't let this despicable person succeed. The group of Hua family elders all clenched their fists. Now, they no longer thought about how Hua Yongming died. They just wanted to ensure that their family's property wouldn't be taken by an outsider. Compared to the dead, the interests of the living were more important. Alright, Hua family, this is just a small matter. Leave for now, we have something to say to Xia Ping, a king said, ordering the Hua family members to leave for now. The Hua family members were very unwilling, but in the face of a king's order, they had to obey. Xia Ping, I heard that 5 demon kings were killed this time. Where are the corpses of those demon kings? A king asked impatiently, looking at Xia Ping. They're on my flying ship. I'll take them down for you to see. After saying that, Xia Ping took the corpses of the Bear King, the Cat King, the Ox King, the Snake King, and the Black Scorpion King. This aura, they really are the corpses of demon kings. Although they're not very complete, they're still very valuable for research. These are demon kings' corpses. How can we get them normally? Maybe we can find some secrets from these corpses. The eyes of many kings lit up as they stared at the demon kings' corpses. Xia Ping, can you give us these demon kings' corpses? Of course, we'll also pay a certain price to buy them. A king looked at Xia Ping eagerly. Xia Ping said straightforwardly, of course, no problem. If you need them, you can take them. Anyway, these demon kings' corpses weren't very useful to him. He might as well give them to the human kings. This way, he could use profits to shut their mouths. Not bad at all. Thank you so much. That's it for today. By the way, Xia Ping, now that the myriad demon mountain is furious and wants to kill you, don't leave the giant island for the next few days. That's right. Stay on the giant island. No matter how those demon kings shout, they won't be able to take your life. Don't worry. The kings all spoke kindly. They were naturally willing to be friends with such a promising young man. Chapter 838. Giant Island Villa. After bidding farewell to the kings and the Hua clan, Xia Ping and Jiang Yaru quickly arrived at the inner region of the giant island. They planned to go back and rest. Jiang Yaru looked around curiously and sighed in admiration. As expected of the core region of the giant island, the people living here were all rich and powerful. Others simply couldn't compare to them. If it weren't for Xia Ping, she probably wouldn't have been able to enter the core region. With a bang, the two walked into the villa. But as soon as they stepped through the door, two neat rows of beautiful maids stood in front of them. Each of the maids was dressed very beautifully. Their clothes were tight, showing off their impressive figures. They were also very scheming, purposely revealing a part of their cleavage to cause people's imagination to run wild. Any man who saw this scene would probably feel his blood boiling. "Welcome back, master." The group of maids bowed. "What?" At this moment, Jiang Yaru was in a state of shock. She followed Xia Ping home and didn't expect to see a group of beautiful women. It wasn't one, but a group. It was too exaggerated. It was beyond her imagination. Moreover, she could also see that these maids weren't ordinary maids. Each of them emitted a noble aura. Clearly, they were all highly educated and had a good background. It could be said that it wouldn't be difficult for them to marry a rich man. Such women actually came here to be maids. She didn't even need to think to know what these women were planning. Thinking of this, Jiang Yaru gritted her teeth. She remembered Xia Ping's words before. That shameless scoundrel said he would support her. At that time, she was very touched and thought it was a confession of love. She almost agreed in a moment of impulse. But looking at it now, it was practically a fart. Support my ass. There was already a group of beautiful maids in the house. He probably couldn't even handle being a groom every day. My God, just how many women did this shameless scoundrel support in his villa? Moreover, just how many women had he said these words to? Otherwise, how could he be so familiar with them? At this moment, Jiang Yaru's face was very dark, black like coal. Her body emitted a dangerous aura. Hearing this, Xia Ping nodded. Master, I heard that you went on an adventure this time and encountered great danger. You didn't get hurt, right? That's right. I heard that Master was besieged by 5 great demon kings and almost died. Fortunately, Hui Yongming sacrificed himself to save him. It must have been a very dangerous situation at that time. I wonder if Master is in any serious trouble. Master is blessed. Even without that Hui Yongming, he will definitely be able to return safely. That's right. What can a mere 5 Yao Kings amount to? As Yao Kings, they actually dare to gang up on us. Their skin is simply too thick. I have never seen such shameless Yao Kings. Fortunately, they are dead. Otherwise, how could they still have the face to live in this world? My God, are these the muscles on Master's body? It's too sturdy, probably even harder than steel. This is the body that could survive the pursuit of the 5 great demon kings. It's amazing. I wonder how it feels to hug it to sleep. Will I get pregnant? A group of maids immediately came forward and surrounded Xia Ping, talking about what had happened in the past few days. After all, the 5 great demon kings and Hui Yongming had perished together. The entire cloud world was shocked, and everyone knew about it. They walked up boldly, touching and pinching Xia Ping's body like female hoodlums, feeling his muscles. Female hoodlums, all of them female hoodlums. Jiang Yaru gnashed his teeth. Did these women know what shame was? In front of everyone, they actually dared to flirt with a man and even said they would get pregnant. My God, what are these women thinking? Do they even have any shame? Huh? Suji, aren't you Suji? Why are you in this place? Suddenly, Jiang Yaru also discovered that among the many beautiful maids, there was also one whose appearance was extremely outstanding, like a crane in a flock of chickens. However, he was very familiar with this woman. Impressively, she was an influential figure in Yanhuang University. She was known as the National Campus Belle, and she was also the daughter of the Su family. But now, she appeared in this villa, wearing a maid outfit. No matter how he looked at it, this scene was very strange. Ah. In a flash, Su Ji's charming face suddenly turned red. Even if you beat her to death, she would have never thought that she would actually see an acquaintance in this place. She simply wanted to be an ostrich and bury her head on the ground. This was really too shameful. Originally, when she saw Jiang Yaru appear, she wanted to turn around and run. However, as the head maid, she couldn't abandon her master and leave. She could only brace herself and continue. She had kept her head down the entire time, praying in her heart that Jiang Yaru hadn't discovered her existence. She didn't expect that Jiang Yaru, with his sharp eyes, would still discover her and point her out on the spot. Don't misunderstand, I came to this place to train. Su Ji stuttered and found an excuse. Cultivation. The corner of Jiang Yaru's mouth twitched. Did he really think she was an idiot? She was already dressed like a maid and had come to this villa to be this man's maid, and she was still so exposed. Just what kind of cultivation did she practice? Was it the kind that specialized in seducing men? She might even climb onto a man's bed while she was training. An adult would know what would happen even if they used their knees to think. She never thought that even a peerless beauty like Su Ji would become so shameless. Such a beauty, as long as she casually hooked her finger, who knows how many men would be willing to be hooked. But now, they were actually willing to come to this villa, become this hooligan's maid, and even tried to seduce him. What was going on? When did this hooligan become so charismatic that there were so many beauties willing to throw themselves at him? It's over. This time, my, Su Ji's, illustrious reputation is completely gone. Seeing the look in Jiang Yaru's eyes, Su Ji knew that this intelligent woman simply didn't believe her words. Her heart was filled with despair. It was as if all the students in Yanhuang University knew that she was a shameless woman. In order to seduce men, she even ran into a man's villa. Would she still be able to get married in the future? You guys stay here and chat, I'm going to go into seclusion. Xia Ping said to Jiang Yaru. He left her here and went into seclusion to cultivate. Because the geocentric Ganoderma's medicinal power was constantly being drained. If this continued, perhaps the medicinal power would decrease by a lot. He must quickly refine this spirit herb and thoroughly absorb it. Previously, when he was on the airship, he didn't dare to cultivate. He was afraid that along the way, there might be a demon king coming to kill him. If that happened, he was afraid that he would encounter a huge problem and enter cultivation deviation during his cultivation. But now that he had returned to the villa on the giant island, it was incomparably safe. There was no need to worry about other people disturbing him. Naturally, he could refine this spirit herb in peace. Chapter 839. Myriad Monster Mountain, a meeting hall. At this moment, many monster kings appeared. They all knew the news of the 5 monster kings' deaths. Their faces were as black as coal, and the atmosphere in the hall was very oppressive. Bear King, Cat King, Black Scorpion King, Snake King, and Ox King are all dead. What do you all think? Battle Rabbit King was the first to speak. What do you think? Tiger King's temper was very bad. He roared, 5 monster kings are dead. This is a provocation to Myriad Monster Mountain. This is a signal to start a war. Those humans want to die. Immediately send troops to Giant Island. Gather millions of troops and capture that human Xia Ping. Exterminate his entire clan. He was filled with murderous intent and anger. Bear King and Ox King had been good friends for many years. They had known each other for hundreds of years and were already friends of life and death. Now, they died in the hands of a human. How could he accept this? Therefore, he wanted to send troops to the human world to capture the culprit, Xia Ping. That's right. Kill that human. This is too exaggerated. I've long said that this human is a scourge and should be eliminated as soon as possible. Now, 5 monster kings have died in the hands of this human Xia Ping. Our myriad monster mountain has suffered great losses. Who doesn't know that human Xia Ping is a scourge? His arrogance is obvious when he auctioned off the monster race's prodigies. Now, even the monster kings have been killed by him. He's simply lawless. You want to eliminate him as soon as possible? That's easy for you to say. Who doesn't know? We sent 5 monster kings but they all died. Not one was left. How can we eliminate him? The group of monster kings gritted their teeth. They felt a heart-wrenching pain. 5 monster kings weren't 5 cabbages. How could they die just like that? They simply couldn't believe such a result. The death of one monster king was an irreparable loss. After all, to give birth to a monster king required a large amount of resources. Only one could be born out of billions of people. It would take at least 100 years to nurture. This kid's luck is simply heaven-defying. Why did he meet a human king when we were trying to kill him? Avon King gritted his teeth. And that human king is also stupid. He was actually willing to self-destruct and perish together with the 5 monster kings. I've never seen such an idiot before. Is he tired of living? It was incomparably sullen. If not for the appearance of that human king, that brat would have died without a doubt. Even a deity wouldn't be able to save him. I think there must be something fishy going on. Even in the human world, this brat is hated by everyone. I even heard that he has a conflict with the Hua clan. Both sides have a huge grudge. How could that human monarch, Hua Yongming, be willing to sacrifice his life to save this brat? A demon king suspected that this matter was not as simple as it seemed. So what if there's an inside story? We don't need to know what method that guy used to kill the 5 great demon kings. Now that the demon kings are dead, what else can we say? The only thing we can do is very simple, and that is to take revenge. A ruthless revenge. The Tiger King roared, immediately go out in full strength and destroy 10,000 human cities. Kill until human heads roll, blood flow like rivers, and corpses float for thousands of miles. Let them know that our Wanya mountain is not to be trifled with. If you don't hand over the scourge Xia Ping, we won't let this go. It suggested immediately mobilizing the army to attack the human world and kill Xia Ping. What did the humans say? Did they plan to agree to our request and hand over Xia Ping's head to appease the anger of our Wanya mountain? A monster king asked in a low voice. No. The ape king's face was gloomy. The humans said that the 5 great demon kings deserved their deaths. They provoked us first, which is why this happened. This was self-defense, they didn't do anything wrong. They said that they definitely won't accept one-sided blackmail and didn't care about our request at all. It clenched its fists. It didn't think that the humans would not give it face. If the tiger doesn't show its might, they think that I am a sick cat. The Tiger King roared towards the sky. It seems like our Wanya mountain has been peaceful for a long time. We haven't shown our fangs for a long time. The humans even think that our Wanya mountain is weak and can be bullied. If we can still tolerate this, then what is the use of our Wanya mountain? We will immediately surrender to the humans and become their pets. It was furious. The Tiger King is right, we can't tolerate this anymore. Again and again, the humans are simply provoking the bottom line of our tolerance. If Xia Ping doesn't die, we definitely won't give up the war. If the humans want to fight, then we will fight. Even if blood flows like a river, we will not hesitate. Many demon kings were murderous. Before, they had tolerated for the peace of the demon clan. Even when the geniuses of the demon clan were auctioned, they didn't make a big move. But now they couldn't bear it anymore. If they continued to bear it, they would really become turtles. If they didn't take revenge when the demon kings were killed, which race in the cloud realm would submit to their Wanya mountain in the future? Let's do it. A cold light flashed in the giant king's eyes. Kill the humans. The three-eyed giant clan is willing to be the vanguard. We will take the lead and kill the humans. We will give them pain that they won't forget for 100 years. Its voice was like the roar of a war drum, entering the ears of every demon king. The Crow clan of misfortune is also willing to participate in the war. It is our duty to kill the humans, the Crow King also said, indicating that the Crow clan of misfortune was also willing to participate in the war to show the ferocity of the demon clan. Its body was filled with an endless aura of death, as if there were hundreds of thousands of vengeful spirits appearing, wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. This was the symbol of death, and it loved war the most. Indeed, we can't bear it anymore. If we continue to bear it, the backbone of the demon clan will be gone. If the humans don't give us an explanation, then we will go and ask them for an explanation, the Battle Rabbit King said coldly. Previously, when the human Xia Ping auctioned the Rabbit Clan Saintus, it already wanted to kill him. However, because of the disagreement among the demon clan, they couldn't work together. Now, it was different. The death of the 5 demon kings made them unite against a common enemy. As long as the major forces of the Wanya mountain were united, there was nothing to be afraid of. Report. Suddenly, a demon clan soldier barged in from outside, looking flustered as he shouted loudly. What happened? The Battle Rabbit King and the other demon kings narrowed their eyes. They had instructed the guards outside not to let anyone in unless it was urgent, but now they had disobeyed. It was obvious that this news was no trivial matter. The Adamantine Ant King and the Purple Butterfly King have fallen, the demon clan soldier shouted. What? The other demon kings were shocked. 5 demon kings had just died, and now 2 more had died. What exactly was going on? What happened? How did they fall? The Battle Rabbit King and the other demon kings immediately asked. They went to a ruin to search for treasures, but they didn't expect to encounter 2 newly ascended human monarchs. In the end, they were killed with their own hands, and their heads were chopped off in front of everyone. The demon clan soldier trembled in fear. Newly ascended human monarchs? Who are they? The other demon kings clenched their fists tightly. Chapter 840. What? Many king beasts were shocked. Humans had 2 more kings. Moreover, as soon as they leveled up, they had the ability to kill the king of King Kong Ant and the king of Purple Butterfly. How was that possible? Didn't that mean that these 2 female kings had the potential to become invincible kings? At once, all the king beasts felt suffocated. They were extremely depressed. Originally, 5 king beasts had died. It was already a great loss. Now, 2 more king beasts had died. However, humans had 2 more kings. The difference between the 2 sides was huge. Originally, humans and beasts were in a balanced state. Now, the power was out of balance. If they really started a war, the 1,000 Monster Mountain would be defeated because they didn't have enough high-level fighting power. Damn it! How could this happen? That human was too arrogant. He killed 2 of our king beasts. Does he really think that there are no beasts in the 1,000 Monster Mountain? What do those damn humans want? The Tiger King's face was extremely gloomy. Even though he wasn't familiar with the 2 king beasts that had been killed, he felt sad for them. We couldn't do anything about it. Although they killed our king beasts, it was in a historical site. According to the peace agreement, when we search for treasures in the historical site, we fight. Life or death is up to the heavens. Yeah. When we search for treasures in the historical site, we can also kill human kings. It's not against the rules. We can't say that the humans broke the agreement. Plus, the 5 king beasts died because we attacked first. If we didn't want to kill that human Xiaoping, this wouldn't have happened. We only have ourselves to blame. Some king beasts felt that the 1,000 monster mountain wasn't in the right. Instead, they were asking for it. If they didn't ask for it, this wouldn't have happened. They didn't think that there was anything wrong with humans killing the king beasts. They were 2 different races. There was a blood feud between them. They didn't need any reason to kill each other. Shut up. You are boosting other people's morale and diminishing our own. So what if we killed a little human genius? Can his life be compared to the king beasts' lives? They aren't even on the same level. That's right. What do you mean by asking for it? We should kill that human genius. That bitch did so many evil things. Doesn't he deserve to die? We are enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens. Today, he dares to sell the geniuses of the demon race. Tomorrow, he will dare to sell the demon king. There is nothing that slut Xiaoping can't do. If such a person doesn't deserve to die, then who does? That's right. If such a scourge is not eradicated, the heavens will not tolerate it. Humans can die, but the monster kings of our Wanya mountain cannot. This is the rule. Many monster kings shouted angrily. They felt that some monster kings were too weak, actually speaking up for the humans. They even said that this was the 1,000 monster mountain's own fault, it was too exaggerated. If not for the fact that they were very familiar with each other's personalities and the strong demonic aura emanating from their bodies, they would have thought that these demon kings were humans in demonic skin and were all fucking human spies. You're right. Starting a war is not a problem. But now, we have lost 2 monster kings. Our strength has been greatly reduced. How are we supposed to fight against the humans? Don't tell me we're going to die and destroy the 10,000-year foundation of our 1,000 monster mountain. A demon king sneered. Can we cooperate with those sea monsters and launch a pincer attack to severely injure the humans? Wishful thinking. Those sea monsters are not on the same side as us land monsters. How are we going to cooperate? We all have a blood feud with those sea monsters. If we cooperate, we will definitely be cheated. Don't even think about it. Cooperating with those sea monsters is like asking a tiger for its skin. It's suicide. This won't do, that won't do. Are we just going to watch those shameless humans get away with it? Are we going to let the death of our monster kings go just like that? Is it appropriate? That's right. If the other people of the 1,000 Monster Mountain know about this, they will definitely be furious and demand for the murderer to be severely punished. Many monster kings clenched their teeth. They were very unwilling. However, the situation had changed too quickly. The humans suddenly had 2 great kings and also killed 2 of their monster kings. They had suddenly turned the situation around, putting the 1,000 Monster Mountain in a very disadvantageous position. If they started a war, without a doubt, this time, the 1,000 Monster Mountain would definitely be heavily injured. They were heavily injured again and again. Not long after, the 1,000 Monster Mountain would probably be destroyed. The entire cloud world would probably become the territory of these humans. There would be no place for the monster clan to stay. Let's start the Monster King path. All of a sudden, deep inside the palace, a voice was heard. At the same time, a vast amount of chi engulfed the entire palace. It was shocking and the earth shook. The one who spoke was the king of the 1,000 Monster Mountain. Nobody in the outside world knew what kind of monster the king of the 1,000 Monster Mountain was. He was mysterious and elusive. However, without a doubt, he was the highest ruler of the entire 1,000 Monster Mountain. His power was unfathomable. Legend had it that the 1,000 Monster Mountain was originally a pile of loose sand. Countless monster kings did their own things and nobody was willing to listen to anyone. However, Once the king of the Thousand Monster Mountain appeared, he immediately used his peerless power to suppress the world. He made countless monster kings submit to him. Many monsters gathered together and their power multiplied. If it wasn't for the king of the Thousand Monster Mountain, the monsters would probably have been destroyed by the humans. What? Isn't the king in isolation? He actually came out now. This is too big. Even the king is completely alarmed. That human really deserves to die. He actually alarmed the king for such a small matter. What a sin. Many monster kings were shocked. They never thought that the king of the Thousand Monster Mountain, who had been in isolation for so many years, would never come out unless it was a matter of life and death for the monster clan, would actually come out now. King, Monster King's path. Could it be the legendary demonic beast king trial? Hearing this, the battle rabbit monarch's body trembled. Once I pass this trial, I will definitely become a monster king. I've heard of this trial too. It said that it was left behind by the ancient monster clan. Back then, it was easier to become a monster king. It was not as difficult as it is now. That was the golden age of monster kings. But wasn't this trial closed a long time ago? Because the process is too bloody and difficult. Even if the monster clan's geniuses enter, they will also die. This is simply a slaughterhouse. The king actually wants to open this monster king's path now. Could it be that our Thousand Monster Mountain has reached a moment of life and death? There's no other way. 7 monster kings were killed by the human race. This is an unbearable loss. I'm guessing the emperor saw this as well. Many monster kings' eyes flickered. They knew the great significance of the opening of the monster king's path. Every time the Thousand Monster Mountain was in danger, this path would be opened and a large number of monster kings would be nurtured. However, it was too difficult to pass this trial. Who knew how many monsters would die before a monster king was born? Because this monster king's path was too dangerous, it had not been opened for thousands of years. Moreover, it was also very difficult to open. After all, every opening required a large amount of resources. If the Thousand Monster Mountain did not go all out, they would not be able to open this trial successfully. Pass down the order. The king of the Thousand Monster Mountain said, 3 days later, the Monster King's path will open. Whether you want to participate or not is up to you. As for that human Xia Ping, put it aside for now. When the Monster King's path is completed, we will settle the score with him. His voice was calm and seemed to contain an inconceivable power. Yes. Chapter 841. At the same time, the news that Qiuxiu and Su Mei had become challengers had spread throughout the human world. Every time a challenger was born, it would be an earth-shattering event in the cloud realm. It would immediately become the headline of the major news and be sent to everyone's phone. Immediately, people all over the world became excited and started discussing it crazily. That's amazing. We humans have 2 more challengers. This is the fortune of the human race. Hee, with 2 more challengers, let's see if those monsters can still be so arrogant. Now we humans have nothing to worry about. If we can have a few more invincible challengers, we'll probably be able to dominate the entire world. We'll rule the continent and the endless sea. Even the stars and the sea will be ours. I heard that humans have already begun to explore the space outside the universe in search of extraterrestrial life. There might be progress soon. Maybe we'll even be able to colonize planets in the future. Many people were extremely excited. No one knew better than them what challengers meant to humans. For humans, challengers were like a stabilizing force. After all, only challengers could fight challengers. Based on the current human weapons, only a few could deal with challengers. Moreover, they were very expensive to manufacture and few in number. It was unrealistic to rely on these weapons to fight against monster kings. Once they reached the invincible challenger level, no weapons could stop them. Even laser cannons would be unscathed. Once they moved, laser cannons wouldn't even be able to keep up with their speed. If he didn't have any high-end combat power, just a single invincible demon king would be enough to destroy a human city. The more advanced a civilization was, the more high-level combat power determined the outcome of a war. It was like the nuclear era. Once a nuclear bomb was launched, all aircraft carriers, bombs, and satellite weapons would be useless. When a nuclear bomb exploded, everything in the world would be destroyed. Quantity, quality, numbers, and good equipment were all meaningless in front of such a god of war. Of course, because they were too powerful, such high-level combat power wouldn't be mobilized unless it was a matter of life and death. They would only be used as a threat and deterrence. Not only challengers, but also 2 female challengers. They're so beautiful. They're like goddesses. I feel like I'm in love. Some people were intoxicated by their peerless beauty. Many people felt that they were national idols. If they acted, the ratings would definitely go through the roof and they would gain countless fans. Don't even think about it. That's a king. He's on a completely different level from us ordinary people. Which man is worthy of such an outstanding woman? I bet anyone would flinch at the sight of it. Some people sighed with emotion. In front of such a woman, it was estimated that any man would feel ashamed of their inferiority. Among the men of the same generation, there were only a few who were worthy of them. After all, they had all become kings, while the others were still struggling in the master realm. No, according to the grapevine, these 2 great beauties already have men. They've been fucked a long time ago, and it's the same man. Someone spread the grapevine's information mysteriously. Fuck, is this for real? If you get one, you'll be lucky enough to get one. How can you get 2? You'll be hugging them in both arms. A Huang and Nuying. Which beast is so outrageous? The group of people gnashed their teeth, feeling incomparable grief and indignation. Such a great beauty had actually been taken by a pig, and 2 at once. Who could bear such a thing? Who else could it be? The champion of the genius battle, Xia Ping. Don't talk nonsense here. Xia Ping is only 19 years old this year, and he just came to the cloud realm to study. No matter how I look at it, he has no connection with these 2. You know nothing. Miss Chiu seems to have gone to planet Yanhuang to be a teacher for a year in order to cultivate. It just so happened that she taught Xia Ping's class. That's how they got to know each other. What a beast. Xia Ping even flirted with his own teacher. Is he still human? He doesn't study well at school and flirts with teachers all day. How can he study well like this? I insist that the school forbid this unhealthy practice of puppy love. Once we find any signs of it, we will immediately crack down and nip this evil behavior in the bud. He has been admitted to Yanhuang University and became the champion of the genius battle. He has a promising future. How can his academic performance be bad? Everyone gnashed their teeth in hatred. They were very unwilling. If Xia Ping's performance was not good enough, they could loudly criticize him, thinking that he was not worthy of the 2 goddesses at all. However, at only 19 years old, he had become the champion of the genius battle and reached the master realm. He had swept all his opponents with an invincible attitude. This was the qualification of an invincible king. It was completely conceivable that in a short time, this guy would definitely become a king. Such an evildoer, even if someone wanted to attack him, there was no way to do so. Sometimes the gap was so big that it was impossible to make up for it. Even jealousy couldn't do anything, only admiration. That's not right. Miss Chiu has been his teacher for a year. What's going on with Miss Sume? It is said that Miss Chiu and Miss Su are good friends. They are both classmates at Yanhuang University. As a result, I don't know what happened, but that beast Xia Ping hooked up with them. Shameless. He even laid his hands on his girlfriend's best friend. He has evil intentions. Isn't this a foot in 2 boats? More than that. It is said that there are many women who have an affair with that bastard. From the east to the west of the city, there are many who want to have abortions for him. Those shameless women are like moths to a flame. There's no justice. Why do so many goddesses like such a scumbag? It doesn't make sense. Women don't like bad men. I don't accept it. I also want to be a bad man. Don't talk nonsense. A pure bad man is a hooligan. Which excellent woman will like him? You know what a real bad man is. He is rich, handsome, has an 8-pack, can say sweet words, knows how to read people's expressions, and flirts everywhere. This is the standard of a bad man. Which one of you can meet it? A group of superficial women. Why don't you see my inner qualities? I really can't see it. A group of netizens are gnashing their teeth, envious, jealous, and hateful, but there is nothing they can do about it. After all, this is the other party's problem. They can only watch. Some people curse fiercely, hoping that the two great beauties, Choshu and Su-mei, will kick this scumbag away. The prodigal son will turn over a new leaf in time and escape from the sea of bitterness. At this time, Xia Ping did not know that there was such an earth-shattering event on the internet. At the moment, he was in the practice room of the villa, practicing in seclusion. The geocentric Ganoderma that he had obtained before was eaten by him at once. Suddenly, a huge amount of medicinal power rushed into his limbs and bones, broke through the meridians, and greatly increased the aura qi in his body. Chapter 842. In the training room of the villa. Xia Ping sat cross-legged on the ground and operated the pure yang immortal art. The medicinal power of the geocentric Ganoderma had completely melted into his limbs and bones, flowing through every meridian like lava. It's very warm. He closed his eyes and the sun furnace on his body burned, refining the medicinal power of the geocentric Ganoderma into the gang qi in his body. This geocentric Ganoderma was a spiritual medicine that was born after absorbing the essence of endless flames. It contained pure flame energy. For Xia Ping, who cultivated the pure yang immortal art, it was extremely beneficial. Walala, the astral energy in every meridian in his body surged madly, like the roar of a flood dragon, like the flow of lava, like the eruption of a volcano. The astral energy in his body increased madly, and it was even more than what he had cultivated for several years. At this moment, Xia Ping's body trembled. The acupoints in his body were opened one by one, allowing these newly opened acupoints to accommodate the increased gang qi in his body. Even if one cultivated for many years, it would not be as helpful to a martial artist as a spiritual medicine. This was why martial artists desired heavenly treasures so much, because the help they could provide was too great. Fortunately, this spiritual medicine was obtained by Xia Ping, which saved him a lot of time and allowed his cultivation to advance by leaps and bounds. Time passed. After an unknown amount of time, when the last insight acupoint was broken by the boundless astral energy, Xia Ping's eyes revealed a shocking light and his entire body was enveloped by a clump of crimson flames. From afar, this flame was like a blooming lotus, exceptionally beautiful. Even in the dark space, such a dazzling brilliance could not be blocked. The temperature of the whole training room was rising rapidly, and the heat waves were rolling. Even the air seemed to be distorted, and a large number of illusions were produced, as if a divine bird was singing in his body. Dong! Xia Ping felt that he had finally broken through a certain bottleneck and stepped into a new realm of martial arts. The gang qi of the 12 acupoints merged into one, resonating with each other, producing a mysterious energy. The fourth sky of the Grand Master Realm. After obtaining this geocentric Ganoderma, he kept opening the acupoints in his body, which saved him a lot of cultivation time. Finally, he broke through to the fourth sky of the Grand Master Realm in one fell swoop. This was the intermediate Grand Master Realm. Compared to the third sky of the Grand Master Realm, this realm was much stronger. This power. Xia Ping found that the gang qi on his body seemed to be easier to control. With a thought, the gang qi that filled the void immediately changed into various forms. There were 3-feet-long swords, tiger-headed broadswords, silver spears, giant axes, sledgehammers, hooks, bows and arrows, and all sorts of other weapons. Every single one of them emitted a heart-palpitating murderous aura. Their cold light was dazzling and oppressive. Boom! He punched out, and the 18 weapons condensed from stellar energy in the void immediately exploded, attacking the huge wooden dummies in front of the training room. With a peng sound, these wooden stakes were struck by these weapons and were immediately cut into countless pieces. The cuts were neat and smooth. What a strong power! Xia Ping was very satisfied. He felt that the attack power of the 4th stage of the Supreme Power Realm was much stronger than that of the 3rd stage. After reaching the intermediate Zongshe realm, one would be able to control their gang energy with even greater ease. They would be able to transform their gang energy into all kinds of divine weapons at will. Their gang energy would not be any weaker than any other weapon. They would be indestructible and extremely tough. Even his strength had increased a lot. He felt that his body was full of explosive muscles. Every move he made was like a giant beast, sweeping away everything in its way. With a light punch, he could create an explosion of air. Even from several kilometers away, he could still destroy a small mountain. Moreover, dozens of infernal golden crow cells in his body had also been awakened, making the infernal golden crow bloodline even stronger. It seemed that his blood had turned pale gold, and his whole body was wrapped in golden light. From a distance, he looked like the Vajra Arhat body, with divine power, solemnity, and sacredness. The 36 acupoints in Xiao Chen's body were filled with boundless stellar energy. This stellar energy condensed into a small golden crow of hell, burning quietly like a small sun. If they operated at the same time, the power that would erupt would be unimaginable. Earth Spirit Fire. At this time, Xia Ping also felt that after refining the power of the Earth Spirit Ganoderma, the deepest level of energy also emerged from the sea of qi in his dantian. It was a lotus-like red flame. This was the flame essence that was born from endless molten lava, the Earth Spirit Fire. It swayed gently in the depths of the sea of qi in his dantian. The flame burned, emitting a destructive, violent, and destructive aura. It was like the eruption of molten lava, with unparalleled destructive power. And this Earth Spirit Fire was also absorbed by Xia Ping's body. It completely integrated into his body and into his gang energy. Flame. Xia Ping's eyes flashed. He grabbed with his hand, and immediately a flaming divine sword appeared in midair. This was a giant flaming sword formed by the Earth Spirit Fire. Its whole body seemed to be formed by molten lava, and there were flame patterns around it. It was extremely violent and had a terrifying destructive power. Once it exploded, it would be like a volcano erupting, destroying mountains. If Xia Ping threw this flaming divine sword and smashed it hard on the ground, the energy of the flaming divine sword would explode. With this divine sword as the center, the area within a radius of 100 meters would be covered in molten lava, turning into a sea of fire. It could be said that after obtaining the Earth Spirit Fire, the power of his gang energy had become more violent, and its destructive power had become more terrifying. It had doubled, and ordinary grandmasters would definitely die if they touched it. Once it was set on fire, ordinary seawater could not extinguish it. Well, my mental strength has also increased. Xia Ping closed his eyes. When he was promoted to the 4th heaven of Supreme Power Realm, the golden soul crystal in the depths of his mind seemed to have melted a part of the golden energy and integrated into his soul. Immediately, his mental strength increased crazily, and the range of its spread increased sharply. 20 kilometers, 22 kilometers, 24 kilometers, and it kept extending. In the end, it had increased to 30 kilometers. Compared with before, his mental strength had increased by 50%. This was an exaggerated figure. It was impossible for ordinary grandmasters to increase their mental strength in this way. Without the help of the soul crystal, it was estimated that Xia Ping would not be able to do it. Even this soul crystal had only melted a small part of it. If this soul crystal was completely absorbed and refined, it was unknown how powerful Xia Ping's soul would become. Another day passed. Xia Ping did not go out. He stayed in the practice room, quietly feeling the surging power in his body. He completely controlled this power and took it as his own. After all, even if his power had skyrocketed, if he could not use it freely, he would only be a reckless man. He could not exert the true meaning of power, which was a great waste. Ding dong. Chapter 843. 250 million hate points. Xia Ping smiled slightly. This was timely. In order to exchange for a secret method like the soul crystal, he had spent 200 million and basically used up all the hate points he had. Now he had gained the hate of those monster kings, which was a huge gain. This way, he could get more good things in exchange for more useful items. He was really grateful to those dead monster kings. Not only did they contribute their treasures, but they also did not forget to give him a gift after they died, creating a lot of hate points for him. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were the children of wealth. However, since he had gained so much hate points, one could imagine how angry those monster kings were. They probably wanted to cut him into 8 pieces and get rid of him quickly. Moreover, it was different from the previous sale of demon geniuses. Now several monster kings had died, which was a huge loss for the Wanya Mountain. It was an intolerable shame. If he completely angered the Wanya Mountain, he was afraid that the other side would disregard everything and launch a war between the human race and the demon race. If this was the case, he had to be prepared in advance. There would probably be a hard battle next. Thinking of this, Xia Ping opened the virtual network and wanted to check the news. After all, if the Wanya Mountain really planned to attack the human world, then there would definitely be news. What? Su Mei and Qiuxiu have both advanced to the King Realm. As soon as he opened the news, Xia Ping's communicator was immediately flooded with this news. This was simply the biggest news in the Cloud Realm at present, and it became the headline on major news websites. Posts, forums, and other places were full of topics about Su Mei and Qiuxiu. After all, their topics were too rich. They were peerless beauties, came from Yanhuang University, and were young. No matter which one it was enough to amaze the world. If it was a veteran grandmaster who advanced to the King Realm, it probably would not cause such a big discussion. As soon as she advanced to the King Realm, she actually killed the King Kong Ant King and the Purple Butterfly King. She's really amazing. Xia Ping also saw this news. This was even more shocking than Qiuxiu and Su Mei advancing to the King Realm. Before, he had killed 5 monster kings, and now 2 more had died. A total of 7 had died. It was estimated that this time the Wanya Mountain would really go crazy. No one could stop them. War was inevitable. Well, there is no news from the Wanya Mountain. It is still calm. Don't tell me they have no intention of starting a war. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He flipped through the headlines, but there seemed to be no news of the demons sending troops. If the Wanya Mountain had made a move, it was impossible for the humans to not know about it. However, nothing had happened at the moment. They didn't even say any words of condemnation. This was simply unimaginable. That's right, the death of 5 monster kings. If they were enraged, then the death of 7 monster kings would be terrifying. The losses would be unimaginable, causing the 1,000 monster mountain to shrink back, not daring to rashly start a war. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. It was like an army. In a war, if more than 10% of the soldiers died, it would only infuriate the other side, filling them with hatred and madly attacking the enemy. However, if more than 50% of the army died, they would immediately collapse and flee in fear. No matter how powerful the commander was, he wouldn't be able to stop them. The principle was the same. Now, the human race had 2 more king-level beasts, and the Wanya mountain had lost 7 king-level beasts. Their power was rising and falling. Those king-level beasts were not idiots. How could they dare to start a war so easily? Could it be that they were really not afraid of death? They were all king-level beasts of various races. They had families to feed. Even if they didn't think for themselves, they still had to think for the survival of their race. If they started a war, they could get some treasures, spirit medicine, or expand their territory. Even if they started a war, it wouldn't be much. Once they won, they could make up for it. However, there were no benefits at the moment. They just wanted to vent their anger. Even the Wanya mountain's strength was inferior to the humans. They might not be able to win. If they still started a war now, what was the difference between them and idiots? Therefore, the Cloud Realm was still peaceful. The Wanya mountain also didn't come out to cause trouble. It wasn't strange at all. I'm quite lucky this time. Xia Ping smiled faintly. Fortunately, Su Mei and Qiuxiu appeared out of nowhere and killed 2 great king-level beasts. They completely shocked the Wanya mountain so that they didn't dare to act rashly. Otherwise, the Wanya mountain would really attack the city and slaughter dozens of human cities, causing countless casualties. Huh! The treasures obtained from the king-level beasts, master-level beasts, and core students were all sold. Xia Ping continued to check the messages on his communicator and found that his account had an extra 2.5 trillion federal coins. When he came back, he immediately handed these goods to the giant company and asked them to help him sell them. As expected of the giant company, even such a huge amount of goods could be easily sold. After all, their sales channels were all over the Cloud Realm. They even had a lot of cooperation with the sea monsters and the Wanya mountain. Therefore, a few days later, the money from the sale of these treasures was also transferred to his account by the giant company. Buy energy. Buy immediately. Buy. Xia Ping waved his hand and immediately went online to order energy for the moon god. He spent most of the money he had on him, leaving only a small amount for emergency needs. Compared to other things, the moon god was the most important. As long as the moon god had enough energy, it would be the biggest treasure. It was enough to ensure his own safety. Even if the king-level beasts attacked, they wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Also, without enough energy, this ship couldn't perform a space jump. Therefore, of course, he had to buy energy first so that the moon god could start. As expected of a super battleship. It really is a bottomless pit. Xia Ping sighed. If an ordinary person obtained more than 200 billion federal coins, they probably wouldn't be able to spend it all in their lifetime. However, for a super battleship like the Moon God, it was just a small amount of money. If he continued to use it, he would probably spend even more money. Fortunately, he had the help of the dead king-level beasts. Otherwise, he would really go bankrupt. No matter how much money he had, he wouldn't have enough to spend. It's already morning. Xia Ping stretched his back. His bones cracked. It was just getting bright outside. It should be morning. He had been in the training room for a few days. He hadn't gone out or taken a bath. His body had long since started to stink. His whole body was quite oily. He wanted to take a bath. In this villa, there was a man-made hot spring. There were massage, sauna, and other effects. The flowing water was specially made. It contained a huge amount of medicinal power, which was very beneficial to martial artists. It could repair human injuries and increase the cultivation speed of martial artists. There were many benefits. This was one of the great benefits of the villas in the core area of the giant island. Ordinary people couldn't afford it. Thinking of this, he left the training room and went to the entrance of the hot spring. Chapter 844. Sure enough, taking a bath in the morning is really delightful and refreshing. Suji happily walked out of the hot spring bathroom. After a night of exhaustion, because she soaked in the hot spring in the morning, the blood in her body was very smooth, and she immediately felt energetic. However, this hot spring is really exaggerated. It's just a hot spring, but the water actually contains the power of prunella, knotweed, northern grass crow, honeysuckle, and dozens of other precious spiritual herbs. How is this a hot spring? It's simply a medicinal bath. It's too extravagant. Suji was very emotional. Even the Su family did not have such an extravagant behavior. It was just a hot spring, but they actually treated it as a medicinal bath. Moreover, there was an unlimited supply of such water, and it could be used at any time. This was really too wasteful. Every drop of water that flowed out represented a large amount of money. Only a colossus like the giant company, which was above many king families, would dare to use it so extravagantly. They were very rich and overbearing, making others envious. However, even a superpower like the giant company would not be so wasteful. If one was not a core member of the giant company, they would not be able to enjoy such top-notch treatment. From this point of view, Xia Ping was already regarded as a future core member of the giant company. Otherwise, he would not have been assigned to such a villa. Hateful bastard, to think that he can enjoy such treatment and live an extravagant life. Life is really too unfair. Suji was indignant. She was very puzzled by how the giant company treated this unscrupulous bad guy, Xia Ping. He was obviously a shameless man without a single bright spot, but he was actually treated like this. This was too unfair. A good child like her, who was conscientious and diligent in cultivation, and never stirred up trouble, was living a very bitter life. She was even forced to marry by her family, and was forced to become this shameless man's maid. This god simply did not have eyes. When did she, the young miss of the Su family, fall to such a state? Fortunately, there is this hot spring. It can also increase the speed of cultivation. This can be considered a good benefit. Suji secretly comforted herself. This hot spring was extremely beneficial to the cultivation of martial artists. Every time she soaked, it was equivalent to eating 10 great tonics, causing her cultivation to advance by leaps and bounds. After being in this villa for such a long time, she had broken through repeatedly and had actually advanced to the 6th layer of the martial master realm. If she was at Yanhuang University, she would not have such a cultivation speed. Moreover, she did not cultivate much. All she did was soak in the hot spring. It could only be said that people with resources could cultivate faster than spaceships. Ordinary people could never catch up. It could be said that this hot spring was the only comfort in her maid's life. Just when Suji was secretly cursing Xia Ping, this abominable scumbag who lives a life of luxury, because she was in a good mood, she didn't look in front of her. She walked out in a daze and immediately bumped into an object in front of her. Ouch, it hurts. Why is there a wall in front of us? She covered her swollen forehead and looked ahead with a confused expression. Suddenly, she saw a tall figure appear in front of her, emitting a masculine aura. Obviously, there was only one man who could enter and exit the main villa at this time, and that was Xia Ping. Why did you come out of the training room? Have you finished your closed-door training? Suji was very surprised because Xia Ping did not appear for several days. He stayed in the training room to practice. It's over. Xia Ping nodded and looked at Suji with a smile. Your clothes are very good, very beautiful. Later on, wear it like this. Humph, don't think that just because you compliment me, I will be very happy. Suji tenderly snorted and rolled her eyes at Xia Ping. She didn't know why, but when she was praised by this bad guy, she always felt very happy. After all, this guy always has a cheap mouth, never praises people, and always angers people to death. Wait, clothes? That's not right. I just came out of the hot spring, wrapped in a bathrobe. How could I wear any clothes? Suddenly, she immediately woke up from her daze. She found that her body was wrapped in a bathrobe, revealing a pair of white and tender long legs. Her proud figure was faintly discernible, simply making people's blood boil. In addition to the bathrobe, she didn't wear anything else. She was in a vacuum zone. It was estimated that any man who saw her like this would not be indifferent and would turn into a wolf and pounce on her. But if it was like this, then wouldn't her whole body be seen by this shameless pervert? Suji's pretty face suddenly turned red like a tomato. Pervert. Suji spat at Xiaoping. What are you shy about? I have seen you when you were not wearing clothes. What is this now? It's just a child's play. Xiaoping expressed that this situation was nothing, he had already seen it. Shameless. Suji was so angry that her pretty face turned red. She knew that this bastard mentioned the last time in the zombie mountain. At that time, she stayed in the hot spring and was seen by this man. Originally, when this happened, she was very vigilant, always paying attention to whether there was a pervert peeping on her. But she didn't expect to be on guard day and night. A thief in the house is hard to guard against. In this villa, she suffered a big loss. She angrily glared at Xiaoping. Her heart was incomparably flustered. She moved her white and tender long legs, wanting to run back to her room and escape from this predicament. She can't let this bad guy continue to take advantage of her. But she didn't expect that because she was too flustered, she accidentally stepped on some water on the ground. Her foot slipped, and with an "ah" sound, she fell on Xiaoping's body. Suji suddenly became anxious. She didn't expect this kind of thing to happen. If this continues, wouldn't she throw herself into this bad guy's arms? In any case, she is also a 6th heavenly layer martial master. Even if her body is out of balance, she can still circulate her qigong. She twisted her body, trying to get away from Xiaoping's body and flashed to the side. But at this time, Xiaoping, out of a martial artist's instinct, dodged to the side. Unexpectedly, the two of them collided with each other, knocking Xiaoping to the ground. Suji's whole body was lying on Xiaoping's body. Her bathrobe also fell down, and her pretty face was crimson. Huh? Are you seducing me? Xiaoping blinked his eyes, looking at Suji, who forcibly pressed him to the ground. Who seduced you? Let me go, pervert. Suji's pretty face was crimson. She was so ashamed that she wanted to die. She felt that this bastard absolutely did it on purpose. Otherwise, she would have definitely dodged, instead of colliding with him and falling to the ground together. What are you doing? Chapter 845. And nothing. Suji stuttered. Even if you beat her to death, she would never have thought that Jiang Yaru would appear at this time, and at the worst possible time. Right now, even if she had 8 mouths, she still wouldn't be able to explain the situation. Nothing. Jiang Yaru chuckled. She had already pushed a man to the ground and dressed like this, and she still said she didn't do anything. Would anyone believe her? She didn't expect that Suji, who was conservative and arrogant in the school, would actually be so shameless in this place, to the point that she has no face at all. Early in the morning, she actually dressed like this to seduce a man. It could only be said that she was indeed a woman of the Su family. She had the blood of a demon fox flowing in her veins. This kind of ability was innate, and it was exuded from her bones. She believed that if she didn't accidentally pass by this place and happen to encounter this kind of situation, perhaps these 2 men and women would have already started to do something. It would definitely be a dry wood and a raging fire. Yeah, I really didn't do anything. Without waiting for Suji to speak, Xiaoping opened his mouth and said, actually, this was really just an accident. After I came to the hot spring bathroom, Suji just happened to come out. I didn't expect that while walking, she would suddenly fall on top of me, knocking me to the ground. In fact, She didn't do it on purpose. Accident my ass. Jiang Yaru clenched her teeth. Walking on top of a flat ground, she could even fall on top of a man. Who would believe her if she said it wasn't on purpose? Did she really think she was an idiot? Moreover, Su Ji was a martial master at the 6th layer. It would be difficult for a martial master like her to fall even if she was attacked fiercely. How could there be such a strange method of falling on top of a man? If this woman didn't do it on purpose, how could she fall on top of a man? This shameless woman definitely saw an opportunity. Dressed like this, she inadvertently fell in front of a man. I can't help but feel pity for her. Just ask, which man could stand this kind of woman? If it wasn't for her sudden appearance, this woman would have really succeeded, and the uncooked rice would have been cooked. Su Ji, I didn't expect that you usually say no, but your body is quite honest. You usually don't fall, but at the critical moment, you fall. Jiang Yaru disdainfully said, revealing a look as if he had seen through Su Ji's intentions. Using this kind of underhanded method to seduce a man, and you still want to hide it? You're simply dreaming. Yaru, it's not what you think. I really did fall. Su Ji wanted to cry but had no tears. Being told by this bastard man, she simply can't wash herself clean even if she jumped into the Yellow River. How could he explain it like this? The more he tries to explain it, the darker it gets. But she also knew that if she put herself in his shoes and saw this situation, she probably wouldn't believe everything that the other party said. No matter what, facts speak louder than words. Fine, I don't care if you really fell or not. Do you still want to lie on a man's body? Are you going to stay in bed and not get up? Jiang Yaru said in a bad mood. She didn't want to continue watching this kind of embarrassing scene. I can't stand up. She doesn't know why, but when Su Ji fell on the man's body, her body felt soft, unable to exert even a little bit of strength. Her pretty face was as red as a tomato. Can't stand up. Jiang Yaru clenched her teeth. What a dignified excuse. This woman's skin is simply thick to the extreme. She has no sense of shame. She wants to lie on a man's body and not get up. Is she waiting for me to leave so that she can start doing all kinds of shameless things? It's okay. If you can't stand up, I'll help you. As soon as her voice fell, Xia Ping hugged Su Ji's waist and said with a smile, but your body is indeed not bad. I really like it. Who told you to comment on my body? Pervert. Su Ji was angered half to death. Regarding this situation, she was very ashamed and annoyed. But she had no other choice but to let Xia Ping hug her. Humph, I'm too lazy to care about you guys. Jiang Yaru snorted, looked at Xia Ping and Su Ji with contempt, and directly walked into the hot spring bathroom, intending to take a bath. An hour later, this news spread throughout the villa and was known by many of the maids. Oh my God, did you hear? This morning, the head maid fell on the ground and directly fell on the master's body. It almost got out of hand. That's right. It's said that if Miss Jiang Yaru didn't happen to pass by, the two of them would have been cooked. She's worthy of being the head maid. Her methods are brilliant. She even used a high-level technique like falling on the ground. If I were a man, I probably wouldn't be able to hold myself back. Which man could resist? Not only is she beautiful, she's also proficient in all kinds of seducing techniques. She's simply invincible. I reckon that sooner or later, the master will also be caught by the head maid. It's a pity that Miss Jiang Yaru's childhood sweetheart appeared. Otherwise, the head maid would have definitely succeeded. She failed on the verge of success. She was just one step away from success. Unfortunately, she killed her way out. It doesn't matter. This is actually the head maid's strategy. Step by step. If she does it a few more times, she won't be afraid that the master won't give in. A few more times. I reckon the master will lose his rationality and directly turn into a beast. I just like the master's beastly appearance. Many of the maids chattered about the gossip that happened this morning. They all admired the head maid's blatant behavior. Her methods were too brilliant. Compared to a mature woman like the head maid, they didn't know how far they were. The difference was too big. They weren't even on the same level. At this time, Suji also put on her clothes and walked out of the bedroom. Before, Xia Ping only carried her to the bedroom and didn't do anything. But even so, she was so shy that she couldn't lift her head. After all, being carried by a man like this, and even into the bedroom, this was the first time. She had never experienced this before. This was enough to make her shy and unbearable. Now that she came out, she heard these maids gossiping and spreading rumors everywhere. She was simply angry. It was obviously just an ordinary fall, but in the eyes of these young maids, she became a woman with brilliant methods and deep schemes. She didn't even know when she became a master in seducing men. The head maid is here. A young maid immediately saw Suji coming and immediately called out. She really came. I heard about this morning's matter. The head maid did a good job. Yes, we must defeat that childhood sweetheart. The head maid is the most promising. That's right. I support the head maid the most. I believe that as long as the head maid uses some small tricks, any man will be easily captured. Head maid, when will you spread some experience to us newbies? We are in urgent need of this knowledge. A group of maids came forward and surrounded Suji. They wanted Suji to impart some experience. Chapter 846. At this moment, the upper echelons of the giant company were having a meeting. Many kings were present. All of them had a solemn expression on their faces. I believe everyone has received the news. An old man in white robes was the first to speak. This time, the myriad monster mountain has finally made up their mind. They plan to open the path of the Demon King and let their descendants become demon kings. This matter is extremely serious. We have to be alert. He looked at the kings present. His gaze was filled with a powerful sense of majesty. It was like a divine light that pierced through space. What? The path of the Demon King? Is it the legendary training space left behind by the ancient demon race? It is said that once one passes this training space, becoming a demon king is a sure thing. However, this path is too difficult and dangerous. Even the geniuses of the demon race have a high chance of dying. Also, every time it is opened, it requires a large amount of energy. The myriad monster mountain hasn't opened it for thousands of years. This time, the 1,000 monster mountain has lost 7 demon kings. They have suffered heavy losses. This is already enough to make them ponder over this painful lesson. So, they have made up their minds to let many master demons have the chance to advance to Demon King. Although it is a small chance of dying, to some geniuses, it is a huge opportunity. They might not die. One can imagine that once they pass the path of the Demon King, a large number of Demon Kings will appear. Their strength will increase greatly. At that time, humans will be in danger. The eyes of many kings flashed. They could feel the seriousness of this matter. Once a large number of demon kings appeared, it would be a huge pressure on humans. Even if they couldn't destroy the human race, they could easily pose a huge threat to human cities or destroy a few human cities. Hence, to deal with this matter, the Federation requested our giant company to open a historical site to increase the strength of elite human cultivators and increase the chance of them breaking through to the king level. The old man in white robes said in a low voice. Historical site? Hearing this, many kings were shocked. The reason why humans could become so strong was because they obtained many precious historical sites from ancient times. Some of these historical sites had advanced weapons that were countless years ahead of humans. Some historical sites had their own space with countless precious herbs growing there. Some even had precious martial inheritances and treasures. It could be said that once one stepped into the ruins and came out alive, they would become rich overnight with boundless benefits. This was humanity's supreme treasure, the greatest land of treasures. However, it was not easy to open the ruins. It required a large amount of resources, and the ruins were extremely dangerous. There was a slim chance of survival. Therefore, they had to be extremely cautious every time they explored the ruins, and they would not open it easily. Of course, this isn't just limited to our giant company. The Life Company and the Aurora Company will also open up a ruin to increase the strength of the Grandmasters. The white-robed old man continued, so let's pass the message down. Let the elite adepts of the giant corporation gather together and enter the ruins. He gave the order. Yes. Many king tiers nodded. They planned to inform their descendants to participate. After all, being able to enter a relic would definitely bring them great benefits. There were even masters who had found the opportunity to break through to the king level. This was a great opportunity that could not be missed. Very quickly, this news was passed down to every elite adept in the giant company. Many grandmasters received the news, and all of them were extremely excited. What? The giant company is about to open the ruins, and they want the elite adepts to participate? This is too great. I have waited for so many years, and this opportunity has finally arrived. I must participate in the ruins this time. I have been stuck at the peak of the Grandmaster realm for tens of years. If I still cannot break through, I will never be able to touch the king realm in this lifetime. It is said that there are countless secret treasures in the ruins, and there are shocking inheritances. There might even be pills that can help one break through to the king realm. I lack a supreme martial arts inheritance. If I cannot make up for my martial arts foundation, I will have no hope of becoming a king in this lifetime. This trip to the ruins should be able to fulfill my wish. If I can get a treasure in the ruins, my strength will multiply, and I will be able to do anything. This is such a great opportunity. If we miss this opportunity, we won't get another one. Many elite adepts were extremely excited. Everyone knew about the various legends in the ruins. There were peerless treasures, unparalleled pills, supreme martial arts inheritances, and so on. Once they obtained it, they would soar into the sky. Who knew how many kings had been created in the ruins? If they missed this rare opportunity, they would be struck by lightning. Even if there were great dangers in the ruins, wouldn't there be no danger in adventuring and training? To be able to advance to the Grandmaster realm, which one of them hadn't experienced a narrow escape from death? How could a mere danger scare them? Some of the elite adepts were adventuring on an island in the endless sea in search of spirit herbs, but after receiving this news, they immediately gave up and returned to the giant island. Some of the elite adepts were cultivating alone in the desert, fighting against the heavens and the earth, using everything as their master. But at this time, they also gave up and returned to the giant island. Some of the elite adepts were still cultivating in seclusion, but their relatives and friends directly woke them up, forcing them to come out. Otherwise, if they missed this opportunity, they would regret it for the rest of their lives. There were also some who were chasing after their enemies, but they also gave up. Compared to the opportunity to advance to the king realm, the chance to chase after their enemies was nothing. Once they advanced to the king realm, what enemies couldn't they kill? No matter what they were doing in the outside world, no matter how far they were, these elite adepts would immediately return without hesitation. There were also some who couldn't make it back. All of them were pounding their chests in regret. At this time, Xia Ping, who was in the villa, also received this news. All the elite adepts are going to the headquarters of the giant company to gather. A ruin is about to open. It can't be, there's such a good thing. Xia Ping looked at his communicator and immediately received this news. His eyes widened, and his heart palpitated. Ever since he was young, the term ruin had appeared in all kinds of textbooks. It was because humans had obtained many ruins and inheritances that they were able to defeat the monsters of planet Yanhuang. They even entered the cloud realm and expanded their territory, expanding the living space of humans and making them stronger and stronger. Technological weapons, pills, spirit herbs, martial Dao inheritances, and so on. Every item in the ruins was incomparably powerful and mysterious, making countless people yearn for it. Although Xia Ping had extorted those demon kings and killed a few demon kings to obtain a lot of wealth, compared to the ruins, it was just a drop in the ocean. It was nothing. Once he successfully returned from the ruins alive, the benefits he would obtain were simply unimaginable. I want to enter this ruin too. Chapter 847. At this moment, Xia Ping was driving an anti-gravity sports car through the air, rapidly flying toward the headquarters of the giant company. This sports car was specially allocated to the villa by the giant company. After all, spaceships were only long-distance transportation tools, while sports cars were used in the city. They were widely used and could be seen everywhere on the streets. This sports car could also be driven automatically. As long as the owner entered the command for the destination, it could lie down and sleep in the car until they reached the destination. How lively! Xia Ping glanced outside the car window. There were rows upon rows of tall buildings with people coming and going. It was abnormally bustling, and everyone's cultivation base was very high. At the very least, they were at the martial master realm. One could say that the people living on the giant island were basically the elites of humanity. Experts were as common as the clouds. This also caused the giant island to be incomparably prosperous. All sorts of expensive sports cars could be seen everywhere. Rumble! All of a sudden, an anti-gravity car beside him went out of control. It was like a wild horse that had broken free of its reins and charged toward his sports car. Its speed was extremely fast, reaching 200 to 300 kilometers per hour. Without a doubt, once this sports car collided with his, it would instantly turn into scrap metal. Even the people inside might be heavily injured. Car accident? Xia Ping's eyes flashed. He immediately opened the cover of the sports car, revealing the sunroof. His entire person was like a cannonball as he jumped out from his seat. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the two cars immediately collided. Xia Ping's sports car was deformed and dented from the impact. The steel was twisted and turned into a pile of scrap metal, emitting a large amount of sparks. Even the car that went out of control instantly exploded, transforming into a huge ball of flames. The heat waves surged and swept out in all directions. Kuan Peng steps. Xia Ping didn't panic. His silhouette flickered as wings appeared on his back. In an instant, he was several hundred meters away from the center of the explosion. He could be considered to have escaped the danger zone and wasn't affected by the explosion. However, the surrounding cars were in a miserable state. They were affected by the terrifying airwaves and were blown away. They collided one after another. This was a chain of accidents. In an instant, more than 10 cars collided with each other, making loud bangs. Michem. All of a sudden, a cold light flashed in Xia Ping's eyes. He could sense a fluctuation that ordinary martial artists wouldn't be able to detect in the thick smoke from the explosion. Every cell in his body was trembling. A terrifying killing intent spread throughout his body. It was as though his aura was locked onto by a peerless ferocious beast. He had nowhere to escape. Xiao. In the blink of an eye, a silver cold light flashed across the sky like a meteor falling from the sky. The cold light was like a ray of light in the dark night, like a rainbow piercing through the sun. Immediately, an extremely sharp dagger pierced towards his heart. The attack was vicious and sinister. There was no intention of showing any mercy at all. This was a fatal killing intent. Moreover, this speed was extremely fast, breaking through 8 times the speed of sound and tearing through the air. This was a terrifying speed that ordinary evolved Jing masters would not be able to react to. Faced with this fatal attack, ordinary evolved Jing masters could only close their eyes and wait for death. Dark North Body Protection Technique. Xia Ping snorted coldly. He immediately ran the Dark North Body Protection skill. Standing in the air without moving, a transparent aura shield with a diameter of 2 or 3 meters appeared around his body. This astral energy shield was layered on top of each other, as if there were hundreds of layers of seals on it. There was a constant flow of air, forming a huge vortex with his body as the center. It was as if a large amount of air was being devoured, forming a vacuum. Dong! The dagger pierced forward with unparalleled sharpness, trying to pierce through the astral energy shield and pierce through Xia Ping's heart, completely ending his life. What? The killer was shocked and could not believe his eyes, because he was determined to stab, and it was a special method to break the astral energy shield. But when his dagger pierced through, it was as if it had fallen into a swamp. The dagger was surrounded and swallowed by countless airflows, and no power could be used. At this time, its true body was revealed. Its whole body was dark, like a shadow. It was impossible to see its true face, and its whole body exuded a gloomy and evil aura. Originally, it wanted to escape, but its whole body was sucked in by this vortex airflow. In a short time, no matter how it struggled, it could not get rid of this astral energy vortex. Shadow Demon. Xia Ping instantly recognized the true identity of this killer, because when he was at Yanhuang University, he had been assassinated by a shadow demon of the Supreme Master level. At that time, the shadow demon was killed by Qiuxiu and suppressed on the spot. But he did not expect that after coming to the giant island, these shadow demons would not go away, and they even followed him. At this moment, they brazenly attacked and wanted to end his life. You are courting death. Xia Ping snorted coldly, and his killing intent was soaring. Since the other party wanted to kill him, he would not show any mercy, and he slapped the air. The power of this palm was terrible, and it was the terrible attack of the Supreme Master at the 4th level. The palm contained the unparalleled power of Gang Qi, which was invincible and strong enough to penetrate gold and crack stones. Stop! At this time, an angry shout came from the side, as if feeling the infinite power of this palm, 2 or 3 shadow demons of the Supreme Master level appeared in the air again. They were divided into 3 directions, and in an instant, they rushed over with sharp daggers in their hands. They made a peerless stab at an incredible speed. There was no doubt that they wanted to attack Xia Ping's vital parts, hoping that Xia Ping would give up the idea of killing his companions. If it were an ordinary Supreme Master, he would have been frightened by this attack. Unfortunately, Xia Ping was not an ordinary person. He did not care about the attacks of the other 3 shadow demons at all. He still operated the Gang Qi in his body, and slapped down in the air, like a roaring dragon. Bang! The shadow demon killer had no time to escape, and was immediately slapped on the head by this palm. With a crack, its head was immediately smashed into a mass of meat sauce, and blood burst out like fireworks. Bastard human! The 3 shadow demons of the Supreme Master were stunned, and their eyes were red. One of their companions had died. For them, it was almost the same as the death of their parents, and their hearts were boiling with killing intent. They wanted to catch Xia Ping and kill him to avenge their hatred. Stupid! Xia Ping sneered and operated the North Dark Body Protection skill. There seemed to be an illusion in the void, and a rock appeared behind him, swallowing and nibbling, forming a terrible vortex of Gang Qi. Immediately, before the 3 shadow demons of the Supreme Master level approached Xia Ping, their bodies were surrounded by the vortex of Gang Qi, and various forces were constantly pulling them crazily, and their bodies were a little torn. Go to hell. Chapter 848. When the car accident happened, Xia Ping was assassinated by 4 Grandmaster Shadow Monsters, and then the 4 Shadow Monsters were killed with one punch, and their bodies were torn apart. All of this happened in an instant. When the people around knew what happened, the 4 shadow monsters were killed on the spot, without a whole body. My God, what happened just now? Shadow monster, there was a shadow monster before, it was to assassinate this young man. It can't be, is this the strongest assassination race of the demon race, the shadow monster? It actually appeared on the giant island. What is the background of this young man, and even provoked the shadow monsters to kill him? Amazing, a series of assassinations, carefully planned, interlocking. First, there was a car accident, and then the shadow monsters came out and set a fatal trap, wanting to kill with one blow. I didn't expect it to be broken by this young man, and the 4 shadow monsters died on the spot. I know this young man, he seems to be the champion of the genius battle, Xia Ping. No wonder, these damn shadow monsters have been assassinating the geniuses of our human race. Sooner or later, this race will be destroyed, it is simply a cancer. He is indeed the champion of the genius battle, the pride of our human race. Even in the face of assassination, he is still fearless, but he killed the 4 shadow monster grandmasters with his bare hands. He is really powerful, I am ashamed of my inferiority. Indeed, if it was an ordinary grandmaster, he would have been killed long ago. How could he survive? Many people were shocked by the scene just now. After all, who has experienced being besieged by 4 grandmaster shadow monsters, except for the king level, this is a fatal trap that will definitely kill. For ordinary grandmasters, it is estimated that a grandmaster shadow monster can easily deal with them, stabbing the heart with a knife, and then escaping thousands of miles away, silently, guaranteed that no one will find out. In fact, they often do this, secretly attacking, killing with one knife, often before others find out. These shadow monsters disappear, not many people can find their whereabouts. Once their bodies become shadows, it is difficult to catch their traces. This is an extremely strong escape skill. But unfortunately, these shadow monsters encountered Xia Ping, with one knife, they fell into the mud, were controlled tightly, revealed flaws, and were killed by Xia Ping with one palm. It can be said that Xia Ping, who has the Dark North body protection technique, is simply the nemesis of this group of shadow monsters. These demon race killers are really stubborn. Today is different from the past. Do they think I will be killed by a grandmaster like before? You overestimate yourself. Xia Ping sneered. Back at Yanhuang University, when he was assassinated by Grandmaster Ing Yao, he was powerless to fight back. If Qiuxiu hadn't suddenly intervened, he would have been dead. But now that he had been promoted to the 4th heaven of the Supreme Power Realm, his strength was unparalleled. Even an ordinary 6th heaven or 7th heaven of the Supreme Power Realm might not be a match for Xia Ping. These shadow demons thought that he could easily kill him. What a joke. Today, he was no longer an ignorant person. Even if it was a Grandmaster shadow demon, he could still easily kill it. However, there was also a sense of crisis in his heart. If these shadow demons found out that his strength was not to be underestimated, it was estimated that the next assassination would not only be a Grandmaster-level shadow demon, but also a king-level shadow demon. If he did not increase his strength as soon as possible, he would be killed by the demon clan assassins sooner or later. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At that moment, police cars arrived quickly. They had received news that there had been a traffic accident and that a shadow demon had tried to assassinate a human genius. So they quickly rushed over to deal with the case. Mr. Xia, I wonder what just happened. A policeman came up and asked. Xia Ping immediately told the police what had just happened. He told them everything in detail, without missing a single detail. Okay. The policeman said solemnly, I will tell the federal government about this and let them deal with it seriously. This is a major diplomatic incident. They will definitely protest to the demon clan and seek justice. He was also very angry about this matter. This was the giant island, one of the core territories of the human clan. Now, it was invaded by shadow demons at will, and they even tried to assassinate a human genius. If these shadow demons really succeeded, he was afraid that the giant island would become a joke. Okay, I will leave this matter to you. I still have something to do at the headquarters of the giant company. Xia Ping nodded. After saying this, he left the place and left this matter to the police. Anyway, this matter had nothing to do with him anymore. There was not much point in continuing to stay here. 10 minutes later, Xia Ping took a taxi and arrived at the headquarters of the giant company. In front of him was a huge wall that was at least a few thousand meters tall. This was simply like a great wall made of steel. With a single glance, one couldn't see the end of it. It was incomparably majestic. Through the employee card of the giant company, Xia Ping walked in. He discovered that inside the wall, there were many tall buildings that were 3,000 stories tall. They were so tall that they pierced through the clouds. They were simply mountains that were tens of thousands of meters tall. The entire headquarters seemed to be surrounded by a huge energy shield that was incomparably sturdy. Even if a nuclear bomb were to blast it, it wouldn't be able to break through this energy shield. It was impregnable. May I ask if you are Mr. Xia Ping? Not long after entering the headquarters of the giant company, Xia Ping was stopped by a staff member wearing a black suit. Yes. Xia Ping nodded. The worker smiled. I have been waiting for a long time. The ancestral masters are having a gathering in the 8th plaza. I am the guide and am in charge of receiving the ancestral masters. Please follow me now. He bowed. Xia Ping nodded. The area of the headquarters of the giant company was extremely huge. If there was no one to lead the way, one would definitely get lost in this huge kingdom. Not long later, he followed the worker to the plaza. At this moment, the plaza was already filled with ancestral masters. There were at least 1,000 of them. So. When Xia Ping appeared, the gazes of many ancestral masters immediately focused on him. This was because his appearance was simply too young. There was even a hint of immaturity on his face. Clearly, he wasn't that old. When compared to Xia Ping, many ancestral masters appeared much older. They were at least 30 or 40 years old, and some were even over 100 years old. All of them were old enough to be Xia Ping's grandfathers. This is the legendary Xia Ping, the most anticipated newcomer of the giant company this year? That's right. It's said that the moment he entered the giant island, he was assigned to the core region and obtained a villa. It can't be, right? That is the region where kings reside. Even ancestral masters like us don't have the qualifications to obtain a villa and can only stay in the outer region. This brat actually got one. This is too unfair. There's no helping it. He is only 19 years old and is already an ancestral master. In the future, he might even become an unrivaled king. His future is boundless. Many ancestral masters had complicated expressions on their faces as they stared at Xia Ping. Their hearts were filled with complex emotions. Comparing oneself to others was truly infuriating. They had only reached the ancestral master realm at such an old age. But this brat was actually good. He had just entered university not long ago and had already stepped into the ancestral master realm. His cultivation speed was simply so fast that it was terrifying. Xia Ping. Chapter 849. Hearing this voice, Xia Ping looked over and saw a man in a black suit coming over. He was tall, 1.95 meters, with bulging muscles and a scar on his face. He stood there, exuding a violent momentum, just like a furious lion. The people around him were oppressed by his momentum and could hardly get close. At this moment, his eyes were red, staring at Xia Ping with murderous eyes. Who are you? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He had never seen this guy before, but he didn't know why the man seemed to be very angry with him and even had a trace of killing intent. My name is Wang Dongcheng, Wang Rulong's elder brother. The man in black stared at Xia Ping and said, let me ask you something. Wang Rulong and my uncle Tong also went to the Myriad Treasures Island. Did you see them? He knew that Wang Rulong and his uncle Tong had gone to the Myriad Treasures Island to hunt down Xia Ping. It was impossible for them not to have met Xia Ping. But now, Wang Rulong, Wang Tong, and a large number of elites of the Wang family had disappeared. There was no news from the Myriad Treasures Island, which shocked the Wang family. After all, they were a large number of masters of the Wang family. If they died on the Myriad Treasures Island, it would be an unimaginable loss for the Wang family. He had been unable to contact Xia Ping before, so he had no way to know what had happened to Wang Rulong and Wang Tong. Now that he finally had the opportunity to meet them here, he immediately went forward to ask. I see, it's Wang Rulong's elder brother. I did see them on the Myriad Treasures Island. Xia Ping nodded. Not only had he seen them, but he had also killed all of them, not leaving a single one alive. He reckoned that they had all become food for the monsters on Treasure Island, with not even their bones remaining. What? Wang Dongqing immediately asked, where are they now? Why haven't they come back after such a long time on the Myriad Treasures Island? Maybe they are dead, Xia Ping said casually. Wang Dongqing's expression immediately changed. Impossible. My uncle Tong has reached the 6th stage of the Supreme Power Realm. He can come and go freely on the Myriad Treasures Island. There are also a large number of masters of the Wang family. What could kill them? Did you secretly murder them? He was very suspicious. After all, Wang Rulong and the others had planned to plot against Xia Ping. Since they had met, there must have been a conflict. Perhaps Xia Ping had used a trick to kill his brother and uncle. You can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. Xia Ping stood with his hands clasped behind his back and flatly denied, why would I murder a human grandmaster for no reason? Each of them is a treasure of the human race, the main force in the fight against the demon race. Each of them is extremely important. Although you said that Wang Tong and the others are grandmasters and it is impossible for them to die on Myriad Treasures Island, the truth is that even the 5 great demon kings died this time. Who else can't die? Maybe they were unlucky to encounter the 5 great demon kings and were killed like bugs. When the people in the surroundings heard this, they nodded in agreement. This was indeed very possible. Only a king tier would be able to kill a large number of evolved Jing masters and not a single one of them could escape. If the people of the Wang clan were to encounter the 5 great demon kings, they would truly be out of luck. If they were all killed, it was only natural that they wouldn't be able to send news back. This is just your side of the story. Where is the evidence? What evidence do you have to prove that you didn't murder them? Wang Dongqing sneered. He didn't believe Xia Ping's words at all. Follow me to the laboratory and take a lie detector test. If you can prove that you didn't lie under the laboratory, then I will believe you. He wanted Xia Ping to take a lie detector test to prove whether Xia Ping's words were true or not. Nowadays, technology was extremely advanced. Under the equipment, it could basically detect that more than 99% of people were lying. It was extremely advanced and was specially used to solve cases, detect spies, and so on. Lie detector test. Xia Ping sneered. If a tiger didn't show its might, it would be treated as a sick cat. This Wang Dongqing was really insatiable. Who did he think Xia Ping was? Who did he think he was? The surrounding grandmasters all frowned. They felt that Wang Dongqing was a bit too much. Asking a grandmaster to take a lie detector test was a great insult. It was clearly doubting the character of a grandmaster. If it wasn't to the point of no return, no one would do such a thing. However, this Wang Dongqing was using a groundless accusation to ask Xia Ping to take a lie detector test. He simply didn't put Xia Ping in his eyes. If Xia Ping was an ordinary person, then it would be fine. However, Xia Ping was a grandmaster. His status was noble. How could he be tested so easily? What did it mean to be a grandmaster? Interesting. If I take the lie detector test and prove that I didn't lie, then shouldn't you go die and commit suicide as an apology? Xia Ping sneered. He stared at Wang Dongsheng with a murderous look in his eyes. He wasn't afraid of the lie detector test at all. With the system here, no high-tech equipment could have any effect on him. No matter how many times he was tested, what he said was the truth. However, just because he wasn't afraid of the lie detector test didn't mean that he would let Wang Dongsheng do whatever he wanted. Commit suicide as an apology? What are you talking about? If you prove that you didn't lie, then you will be able to prove your innocence. This will eliminate a great enemy of my Wang clan. This is the greatest benefit. Yet, you want me to commit suicide as an apology? Are you crazy? Wang Dongsheng felt that Xia Ping was crazy. He asked Xia Ping to take a lie detector test for the sake of the other party and to prove his innocence. Now, he actually wanted him to commit suicide as an apology. If this wasn't crazy, then what was? Daring to insult a grandmaster is a capital offense. Xia Ping's killing intent soared. Using a groundless accusation to slander me is the greatest insult to a grandmaster. If I don't die as an apology, how can I appease the anger of a grandmaster? You want me to take a lie detector test? Sure, but you have to pay the price. Bet your life. Once I prove that I didn't lie, then you can die. You don't even have this kind of awareness, yet you want to slander a grandmaster? What kind of place do you think this is? What kind of person do you think a grandmaster is? Do you think that by relying on the Wang clan, you can do whatever you want in the giant company? Let me tell you, you have come to the wrong place. Many grandmasters deeply agreed. Grandmasters were lofty existences. Other than kings, they were the strongest. In the military, they would be generals, marshals, and in the various martial arts organizations, they would be higher-ups with high status and authority. How could such a character be so easily humiliated? Daring to question a grandmaster without paying the price? Where was the dignity of a grandmaster? Did he think a grandmaster was a nobody? You! Wang Dongsheng was shocked and angered. He thought that with the power of the Wang clan, even if this brat was a grandmaster, how would he dare to offend the King clan? Wouldn't it be easy to intimidate him a little? But now, this brat was extremely arrogant. If he wanted him to take a lie detector test, he would have to pay with his life. Chapter 850. Tell me, do you dare to take the bet? Xia Ping looked down and said aggressively, I'll take the lie test with your life. Don't you think I murdered Wang Rulong and the others? Why don't you dare to take the bet? As long as it's proven that I'm lying, I won't have to die. Of course, once it's proven that I'm telling the truth, you'll be insulting a guru, and you'll have to pay for it with your life. He forced Wang Dongsheng, giving him only two choices. Me. Wang Dongsheng was so angry that his face turned blue and purple. As a direct descendant of the Wang family and an expert at the 5th level of the Supreme Power Realm, he had been superior since he was a child. He had never encountered such a dilemma. Although he suspected that the disappearance of his younger brothers Wang Rulong and Wang Tong had a lot to do with this guy, he was not 100% sure. If this guy really didn't lie, he would be dead. He would have to be crazy to gamble with his life on such an ambiguous matter. Go, let's go and make a life and death contract now. Don't you want to know the truth? Go, let's go to the lie test now. Xia Ping didn't wait for Wang Dongsheng's reply and grabbed him with his big hand. Boom! This gigantic hand seemed to be able to pierce through the void. No air was able to obstruct this gigantic hand at all. The 5 fingers of this hand carried with it a terrifying force. In the air, there were dozens of chi strengths. These chi strengths were like tough nylon ropes, instantly covering Wang Dongsheng in the air. It was like an eagle trying to catch a chick, trying to capture Wang Dongsheng. Bastard, what do you want to do? Wang Dongqing's hair stood on end, and he had goosebumps all over his body. An uncontrollable fear spread all over his body, as if he had fallen into an ice cave. He felt that Xia Ping's claw was extremely terrible. It was not like a rookie who had just entered the Supreme Power Realm, but a big shot who had been immersed in the Supreme Power Realm for decades. His every move seemed to have the momentum to attract the power of heaven and earth. When the claw came, he felt that he couldn't move it, which reminded him of the powerlessness of drowning in the ocean when he didn't know how to swim when he was a child. It seemed that at this moment, his body was completely locked by the opponent, and there was nowhere to escape. But Wang Dongqing was also at the 5th level of the Supreme Power Realm, and his Gang Qi was incredibly strong. When he used the Wang family's unique skill, the Azure Dragon skill, there seemed to be an Azure Dragon roaring in the void. Dong! A violent protective Gang Qi erupted from his body, trying to shake off Xia Ping's claw. But it was useless. Xia Ping was not an ignorant person today. He had been promoted to the 4th heaven of Supreme Power Realm, absorbed the geocentric Ganoderma, and also absorbed the soul crystal to strengthen his soul. His strength had reached an incredible level. Even an ordinary master at the 7th heaven of Supreme Realm would probably be beaten to a pulp by Xia Ping now. Anyone below the 6th heaven of Supreme Realm would be killed by him with one punch. Wang Dongqing's struggle was like that of an ant. How could he resist the giant's palm? Boom! This claw was like a hot knife through butter. The air vibrated thousands of times, instantly shattering Wang Dongqing's aura shield into dust. A deep crater with a diameter of tens of meters appeared on the ground. The surrounding evolved Jing masters all felt the terror of this attack. Afraid that they would be implicated, they all used their peerless movement techniques to dodge the terrifying aftermath of this attack. Ah! Wang Dongqing screamed. He couldn't resist and was hit by this claw in an instant. His whole body was shaken dozens of times, and his lungs were severely injured. He was caught like a dead dog and fell at Xia Ping's feet, unable to resist. With a puff, he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood, which dyed the whole ground red. So strong. Many evolved Jing masters were shocked. They could see that Xia Ping was now at the 4th heaven of Supreme Realm. Facing Wang Dongqing, a strong master at the 5th heaven of Supreme Realm, he should be at a disadvantage. At least, his Gang Qi was no match for Wang Dongqing at all. There was a gap of 12 acupoints of Gang Qi. For ordinary evolved Jing masters, the gap was huge. But now it was different. Wang Dongqing was at an absolute disadvantage. He was caught by Xia Ping like a chicken. The aura shield on his body exploded in an instant, and he had no way to resist. With just one claw, he had defeated a master at the 5th heaven of Supreme Realm. This strength was simply amazing. Before, they had only heard of Xia Ping's strength on the news. They knew that this young man was extraordinary, but now they really saw the horror of this peerless genius. In terms of using all kinds of Gang Qi, he was not a rookie who had just entered the Supreme Realm, but an old fox who had been immersed in this realm for decades. They couldn't imagine that this was a 19-year-old young man. It was too exaggerated, and his performance was amazing. You dare to shout at me with such little strength? Your cultivation is useless. Xia Ping condescendingly said, I won't talk nonsense with you. Sign a life and death contract with me. Now go to the lie test. Once it is proved that I am not lying, I will kill you on the spot and send your head directly back to the Wang family to warn others. Let's see which trash dares to shout at me again. He just wanted to catch Wang Dongqing and directly sign a life and death contract. No, I won't sign it, I won't sign it. Wang Dongqing was so scared that he peed his pants. His face was pale, and his whole body was trembling. A large area of his pants was wet. Now he regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. This was a peerless fierce god who dared to kill the descendant of the Demon King and even caught him to auction. Even though he was chased by the 5 demon kings, he did not die. Instead, he caused the death of the Hu family's king. His life was simply harder than a stone. Some people said that this guy was simply the bane of others, specializing in killing others, but he himself was alive and kicking. How could a small figure like him contend with such a fierce god? He actually jumped out recklessly. Wasn't he courting death? Now, before he found the truth, he was caught by this fierce god and had to sign a life and death contract. His life was frozen and he would not be able to see the sun tomorrow. Now he also began to believe that this matter was not done by Xia Ping, at least not directly. Otherwise, this guy would not dare to be so arrogant and choose to take a lie test with him. Cough, cough. Suddenly, a coughing sound rang out. It seemed to contain an unimaginable power. The sound spread out, causing the cultivators present to stop circulating their astral energy. Immediately, an old man wearing a white robe flew through the air and appeared in front of everyone just like that. Many of the cultivators immediately recognized him. This was a king of the giant corporation and also the person in charge of this trip to the relic. His name was Zhao Zhong, and he was also an unimaginably important figure. What exactly happened? King Zhao Zhong asked. His eyes contained a divine light, and he had an irresistible aura, like a high mountain. Xia Ping's eyes flashed. Before this, he had seen the Ox Demon King, the Cat Demon King, the Snake Demon King, and the other 5 demon kings. Hu Yongming had also seen human kings, but these kings could not be compared to this old man. They were simply not on the same level. Chapter 851. Hearing King Zhao Zhong's question, someone immediately went up and told him what had happened. Mr. Zhao. Seeing King Zhao's arrival, Wang Dongqing acted as though he had seen reinforcements. He immediately complained and shouted, "Hurry up and capture this lawless bastard." He actually dared to start a fight in the headquarters of the giant company. This is simply disregarding the rules of the giant company. He doesn't even place the company's rules in his eyes. If we don't punish this brat harshly, in the future, will there still be people who will listen to our giant company? His voice was stern and he demanded the giant company to punish Xia Ping. Shut up. Zhao Zhong coldly spoke, I know who is right and who is wrong in this matter. Do you think you are in the right just because you spoke louder? Who gave you the right to question an evolved master? You have no evidence and yet you dare to casually spread rumors and insult the reputation of an evolved master. You should be considered lucky that we didn't kill you on the spot. You actually dared to complain. Due to your vile behavior today, you don't need to participate in this expedition. Pack up your things and go home. He chased Wang Dongqing out of this place. What? Hearing this, Wang Dongqing's expression drastically changed. To an evolved master, this expedition was simply a huge opportunity. It was equivalent to an ordinary person getting rich overnight. It was something that could only be discovered and not sought. Now, he was actually chased out of this expedition. This was simply killing his path to becoming a king. He was simply crazy. He didn't expect Zhao Zhong to actually dare to do this. Mr. Zhao. Wang Dongqing immediately cursed, you can't do this, I'm a member of the Wang family, my Wang family's ancestor has a relationship with the giant company, and I've also made great contributions to the giant company, how can you do this to me? Just because I offended a bastard, you actually want to chase me out of this expedition? This is too ridiculous. Is your mother's brain flooded with water? If my Wang clan's ancestor heard this news, what would he think? This is unfair to my Wang clan, unfair. He was simply infuriated and didn't care about anything else. Everyone was dumbfounded. Who would have thought that Wang Dongqing would actually dare to say such words? He even scolded King Zhao for having water flooded his brain. His guts were simply boundless. What gave him such courage? Bang! Zhao Zhong didn't waste time talking nonsense with him. He slapped Wang Dongcheng with his palm, like a giant crushing an ant. Wang Dongcheng fainted on the ground with a single slap. He foamed at the mouth, and his eyes turned white. He couldn't speak anymore. It was estimated that he would not be able to wake up for several days. Drag him away. Tell him that Wang Dongcheng withdrew from the ruins operation due to physical discomfort. Zhao Zhong stood with his hands behind his back and gave the order. The guards beside him immediately stepped forward and carried Wang Dongcheng away. Soon, they disappeared from everyone's sight. The evolved Jing masters in the surroundings all shook their heads. To think that he dared to insult a king. Did he not know how to spell the word death? It was already lucky that he had only been knocked unconscious. Some kings were hot-tempered and directly killed Wang Dongcheng, guaranteeing that the Wang family wouldn't dare to say anything. Xia Ping quietly watched from the side and didn't say anything. He also knew that it was impossible to kill this idiot in the headquarters of the giant company. After all, there were kings around. Now that he had kicked the other party out of the ruins operation, it was enough to make the other party regret it. He would probably be angry for the next few years, wondering why he had been so stupid to do such a thing. Alright, although there are some disturbances, it doesn't matter much. Zhao Zhong solemnly said, I believe everyone already knows about this. This time, the giant company is planning to open the 88th ruin. The 88th ruin? Xia Ping's eyes flashed. He knew that the number of the ruins represented the order of discovery. This didn't mean that the earlier the ruins were discovered, the better. After all, if they were discovered first, the ruins would have long been explored by others. All the treasures inside would have been taken away, and there wouldn't be any treasures left for the later generations. Hence, the later the ruins were discovered, the better it would be. There would also be more treasures left inside. Although the 88th ruin wasn't the last to be discovered, it wasn't the first either. There should still be many treasures left behind. This news caused many evolved Jing masters to be excited. The 88th ruin is very special. It is different from the other dangerous ruins. It is specially used to select elites. It's similar to an examination. Zhao Zhong continued, however, this examination is extremely dangerous. If one doesn't pass the examination, the evolved Jing masters who entered would die without exception. Of course, after passing the examination, there would be many benefits. Depending on the difficulty of the examination, some would obtain treasures, some would obtain unparalleled ultimate arts, and some would obtain precious herbs. In any case, those who passed the examination would obtain great benefits, allowing their strength to improve by leaps and bounds. He explained some of the inside information about the 88th ruin. Mr. Zhao, since that's the case, what exactly is the examination for the 88th ruin? Someone asked. Zhao Zhong shook his head. This ruin requires the examination to be strictly confidential. Hence, those who have participated in the examination are all tight-lipped. Not a single bit of the examination content has been leaked. Hence, when the time comes, you guys can only find out for yourselves. No one else can help you. He indicated that he also didn't know what the examination content was. Everyone was helpless and felt a trace of fear toward the unknown. Although the rewards for entering the ruin were very rich, if one didn't pass, they would die. The consequences were very severe. The death rate for the examination this time is very high. It's above 50%. Zhao Zhong looked at everyone. Hence, it's very natural to be afraid. If any of you are unwilling to participate, you can choose to withdraw now. I guarantee that no one will stop you. However, no one flinched, and no one chose to withdraw. All the evolved Jing masters present had experienced many life or death situations. What was a 50% death rate? They had all been to places with 90% death rates. How could one obtain treasures without paying a price? Their dad wasn't an invincible king, so it was impossible for him to have prepared so many treasures for them to cultivate. As the saying went, seeking riches amidst danger. Without huge risks, one would want to pursue high returns. How could there be such a good thing in this world? Alright, since no one wants to withdraw, let's set off now. Zhao Zhong didn't hesitate and moved immediately. Take the spaceship to the 88th ruin. When you get there, someone will naturally pick you up. After saying that, he waved his hand and turned to leave. At that moment, a spaceship descended from the sky. The void energy vibrated, immediately sweeping up all the evolved Jing masters on the square, including Xia Ping, and teleporting them to the inside of the spaceship. Whoosh! Chapter 852. The 88th Ruins. This was a huge island located in the depths of the endless sea. The island was extremely large, and there were lush trees everywhere, like a primeval forest. There were tyrannical monsters everywhere, and it was filled with the aura of the prehistoric era. However, because of the 88th ruins, this island had long been occupied by the human army. A port and a small city had been built there. Boom! The spaceship carrying Xia Ping and the others quickly arrived on this island, came to a base, and landed. Everyone walked out of the spaceship. Hello, everyone. The one who came out to greet Xia Ping and the others was a middle-aged man in black with a big knife on his back. He exuded a wild and fierce aura, like a black bear. He introduced himself. I am Ling Guoyang, the person in charge of the 88th ruins. Congratulations on coming to the 88th ruins to participate in the trial. We have been preparing for a long time. Now, follow me in. Without any nonsense, Ling Guoyang directly asked everyone to follow him in. Whoosh! Whoosh! Xia Ping and the others followed behind Ling Guoyang. The surrounding security was tight, and tyrannical masters were everywhere. There seemed to be a king suppressing them. There were guards every 5 steps, and there were cameras everywhere. There was also a laser defense system in operation. Once an enemy was found, they would immediately kill them without exception. It could be said that this ruin was strictly monitored. Even a fly would be killed if it wanted to enter. The protection of the ruins was even stricter than that of the president. They walked into the metal base that was entirely made of titanium alloy metal. Along the way, they passed through metal passageways and turned here and there before finally arriving at a hall in the deepest part of the base. This hall was also extremely mysterious, as if it was a computer-controlled base. There were optical computers everywhere, and there were huge screens on the walls. Pieces of information that people couldn't understand were constantly flashing across. Many staff members were analyzing and studying here to crack the mysteries of this base. After all, the technology of this base was beyond this era, containing unimaginable science and technology. Even if they couldn't crack the defense system of the entire ruin base, they would always obtain a lot of useful technology if they studied it carefully. In fact, the human technology of Yanhuang planet continued to develop in this way, studying the technology of each ruin base, digesting, and even innovating. They're here. Finally, someone is here. Welcome, Grandmasters, to the 88th ruins base. There's no need to welcome them. Not long after, only half of the Grandmasters here will survive. If we welcome them now, we'll be sending them off tomorrow. Shut up. No one will think you're a mute if you don't speak. Even if that's the case, you can't spout nonsense. Sorry, I was just joking to lighten the mood. Liven up my ass. How can we liven up the atmosphere when there's already a dead person? Pay attention. In the hall, there were also many staff members. When they saw Xia Ping and the others appear, they all started talking at once, looking at Xia Ping and the others like pandas. Many of the Grandmasters were speechless. This group of staff members was too vicious. Although some of them were defending them, they seemed to think that more than half of them were dead, so they did not know what to say. I'm sorry, These bastards haven't seen strangers in a long time, so their mouths are a little big, but they definitely don't have any ill intentions towards you. Ling Guoyang looked at Xia Ping and the others and smiled. But the truth is that the trial in this ruins base is indeed very dangerous. The death rate is more than 50%, and the weak ones are more than 90%. Over the decades, I've seen countless grandmasters succeed, and I've also seen many grandmasters with boundless futures die. So whether you want to go in or not, it's up to you. His expression was very calm as he stated this fact. However, none of the grandmasters present said anything. Their eyes were extremely resolute. Since they were already here, it was not their turn to back, so they did not choose to back out. Alright, if that's the case, let's open the ruins. After a few claps, Ling Guoyang clapped his hands. Immediately, a few staff members beside him started typing on the optical computer. Dong! Immediately, the metal wall opposite them split open, revealing a circular passage. However, this passage was covered by a white light screen. There were gentle energy fluctuations, and no one could see what was inside the passage. This is the passage to the 88th ruins. Ling Guoyang pointed at the circular passage. Once you enter, it means that the trial has begun. If you don't succeed, you'll die inside, and your body won't be sent out. If you succeed, you'll probably come back within a month. We call this door the Gate of Hell. Once you enter, your life and death are uncertain. I can only wish you good luck. Many of the grandmasters fell silent. Even though they were mentally prepared, they still felt great pressure when it came to the end. Was this the ruins trial where one's life and death were uncertain? There was great terror between life and death. Not to mention grandmasters, even kings would not be able to understand it. I'll go in first. Xia Ping was the first to speak. After that, he ignored the others and stepped into the entrance of the ruins first. As expected of young people, brave and fearless. I'm still getting old. When things come to the end, I'm actually a little afraid. There is great terror between life and death. Perhaps I can use this terror to break through to the king realm. I wish you all good luck. I'm going in as well. After I succeed, let's all drink together. Seeing that Xia Ping, the youngest grandmaster, had also entered, many of the grandmasters seemed to be relieved. They finally let go of the pressure in their hearts and walked in one by one without hesitation. In just a few minutes, all the grandmasters had stepped into the ruins passage. With a snap, the passage closed, and the golden wall closed again. The moment Xia Ping stepped into the ruins passage, he immediately felt that he was surrounded by a mass of energy. In an instant, he was transported to a huge square. The square was extremely large, like a fighting arena. There was nothing around it. What is this place? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and looked around, vigilant of the dangers around him. It was the same for the other grandmasters. One by one, they were transported to a huge space and were all separated. Dong! Immediately, a huge white beam of light descended from the void and hit Xia Ping's body. However, it did not have any offensive power. It was like sunlight, making people feel warm. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.